Government thugs will take your property, own your property, with a gun at gunpoint, violating the Constitution. We're going to talk about a case for real here in the state of Tennessee as you look at the beautiful American flag. So just when you thought it was safe to come out of the water, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, the government strikes again, taking your property, on your property, and charging you with a crime on your property, and detaining you, taking away your gun on your own property when you've committed no crime, and when you're cooperating with them. So that happened. A case in Tennessee has reached a national level of attention with the civil rights attorney and other prominent civil rights lawyers across the nation have focused in on a case in Macon County, Tennessee, where Mr. Zebulon had his constitutional rights violated on his own property, had his holstered gun taken away while deputies were trespassing on his property. And they did all this at gunpoint. And this is America. This is what's going on now. A real live case and controversy going on right now in the state of Tennessee. Welcome, welcome, come on board. We're going to talk to you about how Tennesseans are at risk by your government thugs. Let's turn this thing around, get the show on the road. Thank y'all for showing up. Like, share, comment, and subscribe as we get into the show this morning. We're going to talk to you about who you ought to be afraid of, violating your rights, robbing and stealing from you. And I guarantee you it's not who you think it is. It's not a street thug that's going to come on your property and take your trespass and take your rights at gunpoint on your own property when you have done nothing wrong. It's the government. It literally happened in Macon County, Tennessee. Just last year, a man was accosted on his own property by Macon County Sheriff's deputies who came to his house, and this has happened to me a lot, based on a third-party complaint. Now, third-party complaints are what officers rely on to violate your constitutional rights all the time. Hello. And they get a complaint via 911, or a citizen flags them down, complains about something they allege that you're doing that is suspicious, or maybe to them, which is not, or maybe they allege you're committing a crime. So police acting on that third-party complaint, they didn't even see it. And now we're going to explain to you how they've made it even easier for law enforcement, for the government, to now act on a minor violation that they didn't even see, don't even know that it happened. Act on the word of a third party who may be your ex-wife, maybe somebody that's your guts, maybe somebody in a political campaign that's going to vote against you. A misdemeanor offense, a cop doesn't even have to see it happen, can arrest you. Now, since they've changed the law, of course, the people in power aren't going to get arrested. They've done made that clear, but they've made it easier for a police officer to act on a third-party complaint. Even a minor law violation, a misdemeanor crime. A felony is anything that's over a year that you can be incarcerated. Misdemeanor is you call it 11 months to 29 days. You get sentenced to 11 months to 29 days, that's a felony. That's a serious crime. Previously, when I was in law enforcement, you cannot arrest for a misdemeanor unless it's committed in your presence. And I'll tie all this together. It's very important stuff. Happened in Tennessee. Government thugs, not street criminals like you think of. The street criminals with a badge and a government ID came on somebody's property, took his gun away, and incarcerated him, and he didn't commit a crime. Tennessee. Tennesseans, this is happening. This is going on. The government's making it easier for them to do that. Easier. Come on your property. You think you got guns. Yeah, they'll take them. Against your will, they got more guns than you. The guns they got, the difference is the guns you got, you paid for. That you have a right to. The guns they got, you paid for. You paid for their guns that they're going to use to take your guns away from you. And happened in Macon County, Tennessee to a man, and was unlawfully arrested. He didn't act violently, the cops did. Took his property, on his property, trespassed. Just like a thug would come on your property, say, get off my property. And the government said no, had no right to be there. And they were accusing him of a felony that they had no proof of. That under the 4th Amendment, you're supposed to go get a warrant. They didn't do that. They unlawfully went on his property, took his guns away from you. You say, well, my guns will protect me. Yeah, they got more than you do. They got all the guns that you bought for them, and they're going to use the guns against you to take away your rights. We're going to talk about that case in Macon County, Tennessee. That happened in Tennessee. Tennessee is one of the most crooked states in the United States of America as far as government people taking your rights. You have no rights in the state of Tennessee. It was a Tennessee prosecutor that was trying, red state Tennessee, to put Donald J. Trump in jail from Tennessee. That's how crooked Tennessee says it's red. No, it's not. It's blood red from the government running over people. It's not a red political foundational belief state. It's a lying state. The people in power, no, not the people, the mass populace of Republicans in Tennessee, hey, they got you fooled pretty damn good, don't they? It's not a red state as far as political beliefs. It's a state where they have crooked government. They're wanting to take away your rights. They tell you that they have Republican values in order to get your vote so that they can come to your house with the government power and guns that you give them to take away your damn guns. I mean, this is a red state. They believe in your gun rights in this state. They'll even tell you they believe in your gun rights while they're taking your guns away. It's not words, it's actions. They'll tell you, I have no problem, quote, I have no problem with people carrying guns. The same officer that said that was taking somebody's gun off of them unlawfully at the time he was saying that. Don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. So we're going to talk about that case. Macon County, Tennessee. I've been all across this state. It's dangerous as hell to be walking across the state and abiding by the law. Not from being robbed or raped or beaten up in a back alley, by being robbed, raped, and beaten by your law enforcement in the state of Tennessee. It's crooked as hell. And if you're not scared, well, then you're pretty damn stupid. We're going to talk about the case in Macon County, Tennessee. It's horrific. Horrific. A state we live in, a Republican state that's supposed to believe in gun rights. No, they don't. They believe they have a right to take your guns on your property unlawfully at gunpoint. That's what they believe. And they'll tell you a lie while they're doing the exact opposite. Because they did, in fact, take a man's gun on his property against his objection with no crime or reasonable belief of it. They're accusing him of a felony, which he cooperated with their investigation. He didn't do that because he said, get the hell off my property. He cooperated with their investigation. They took his gun anyway with his objection. He didn't violently object, but he said he didn't agree with it. They took his gun while saying that they agreed that he had a right to carry a gun and he's on his own property. He asked them to leave his property, they would not. While saying that they agreed with people's rights to have a gun. They were taking his gun. So no, they didn't. They believe the exact opposite of what they're saying. That's what Republicans in Tennessee, your leadership does, Republicans. Vote for these people. They'll tell you whatever the hell you want to hear while they're on your property, taking your property. Doesn't necessarily have to be your gun, arresting you for a charge that they cannot even prove, just to put you through the process. And they even admit that. Listen to what they're telling you, they even admit that. The colonel over the Highway Patrol has said that he doesn't care if you beat the charge in court, you're going for the ride. They want to cause you the trouble. They have initially guns, handcuffs, and the power of the state government to carry the sword illegitimately and put you in jail and or kill you. And they don't care if you're guilty of anything. they're going to put you through the process. And a lot of times they have a paid off judge that they get elected to rule in their favor that's going to convict you of a crime when you didn't even do it. And that's the scary part, is not only the violent force on the street telling you they respect your rights while they're on your property, violating your rights. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and the Fourth Amendment, they're taking your rights while they're saying you have those rights, while they're taking them, putting you in jail, putting you through the process. But in this case, they didn't win the court process, but they might win the federal civil lawsuit. So you're gonna go for the ride. Be arrested on your own property. Imagine that in Tennessee, literally happened. This is just one case we know about. Literally happened. A man arrested on his own property. His gun's taken away that he had a legal right to own and to have and to carry on his own property while he was out mowing his yard. Police accosted him, came on his property. Trespass. Law enforcement can trespass on your property. Fourth Amendment says that they have to have a warrant or reasonable suspicion under emergency exclusion to enter your property and seize you. They had none. They don't care about the Constitution. They even admitted, words verbatim, that they were setting the Constitution aside. They're setting the Constitution aside. In Tennessee, they set the Constitution aside at their whim. It doesn't fit what we want to do, so we're going to set the Constitution aside. You know, they fought that war. In the Union Army beat the Confederate. The Confederate Army wanted to set the Constitution aside, that all people have value. And let's get across the road here. And the Union won that fight. Tennessee's in the United States of America. You have constitutional rights. They cannot set the Constitution aside. And they did, and they even said that. We're setting the Constitution aside. So when they come to your property, you say, can I see a warrant? They'll say, we're setting all that constitutional stuff, you know, your rights, we're setting that aside while we act like thugs and criminals. Worse than a thug that you'd be afraid of, that's trying to break in your house and steal your stuff because he wants drug money. This is the government doing this to you. They're using the government as a weapon right now in Tennessee. Real life case and controversy going on. If we can get the heck out of here. So yeah, we got over 200 views. Like, share, comment. And this is dangerous stuff to report because of retaliation by the government. Very busy on the roads today because of school's in session. So be careful watching out for little children on the side of the road waiting for the bus. So the government in Tennessee, it's not Kentucky, a blue state, it's Tennessee. This is not Georgia, Alabama. Georgia's pretty crooked. They got a ticket scheme going on there and a rigged election scheme going on in Kentucky, I'll report on, where the city in Georgia is rigging elections, playing their law enforcement to get votes for them. Imagine that. But there's no election fraud according to the news. There's no election fraud. It happens right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Election fraud happens all over the United States of America. It's a wonder that Mr. Donald J. Trump put up enough fight to get the votes counted right this time. A Tennessee prosecutor, you know, the blue state that they say, this state's blue. That's the biggest dirty lie I've ever heard in my life. That's a joke on Tennesseans. When you vote for these people that are running red, that they claim represent your value, I mean, they're red, this is a Republican state, they're red. They're laughing at you. Punch that red for Marsha Blackburn. She's laughing her ass off at you. She thinks you're funny because she doesn't represent Republican values. She doesn't represent the president. She's holding on to his coattails because he's got power right now. I damn guarantee you, if they were able to succeed and impeach Donald J. Trump, and it's been talked about, They just don't have the votes. They haven't lied enough to get enough votes to fool enough people. But if the Democratic Party gets enough votes in the upcoming election, they will try to impeach unlawfully, wrongfully Donald J. Trump. And if he were to get impeached, wrongfully, unlawfully, Marsha Blackburn would go along with the program. She would let go of Donald J. Trump's coattails and say, well, he shouldn't have done that. Now I'm for the other representative of the Republican Party that's not really representative of the Republican Party. That's in the Republican Party to lie to you about the values, because they don't believe in your gun rights in Tennessee. All you gun-toting, God-fearing Tennesseans, they don't believe in your gun values. Republicans don't believe in your gun values. They don't. They want to take your guns away. They did in Macon County, Tennessee, a red county. I got votes in Macon County. They vote for Republicans. Republicans' leadership in the government came on the property of a landowner, Zebulon, in Tennessee, on his property, was mowing his yard, unlawfully, without legal justification or warrant, and Republicans took his gun and put him in jail, gave him the ride. So that's your Republican Party in Tennessee. So go vote red. You're not really voting red, you're voting for people that are lying and saying they believe in those values. They're lying and laughing their ass off about how stupid Tennesseans are. Now, that might not be the way to get many votes, but it is stupid. They say we support Donald Trump grabbing onto his coattails. Well, they tried to have him impeached and imprisoned in 2020. So, and voted for certification of a crooked election. And had he not won the power office again, they would be disowning him. It's about power to them. They want your guns. They don't want you to have guns. And we're going to talk about a case, Macon County, Tennessee. Zebulon was mowing his yard. Next thing he knows, the Macon County Sheriff's Department was pulling up in force, about 4 or 5 officers on his property, and he had a gun on his side. He lives in the county, and even if you live in the city, you got a right to carry a gun, but he lives in Macon County. That is a little bit northeast above Nashville, maybe an hour from Nashville or less. It's about 2.5 hours from Knoxville, Macon County, Tennessee. And he was mowing his yard, had a gun on his side. A lot of those people out in the county do that. You can do that in the city. You have a right to carry a gun on your property. You have a right to carry a gun out in public. Now, I don't carry one visible because you're just showing a thug or cops who to shoot first, because they see you got a gun and they know that's defense, so they'll shoot you first. So if you got it hidden, that gives you a little opportunity if your life's being threatened where they don't know you got it. It gives you a little advantage. And Republicans at the polls, they claim they believe in your rights. Republicans at the polls in Chattanooga, these are Republicans. They'll tell you to your face, we believe in your right to carry a gun. And we will not make any law or do anything to stop you from carrying guns. And we want to increase your rights to carry guns. That's what they tell you to your face, while they're have their hand on your gun and taking it from you. That's what Republicans in this state want to do. So we got a fan base here of dogs. yeah, fan base. So Macon County, Tennessee. This is hometown, Bible Belt, USA. Crooked liars in the power offices, where they sent a prosecutor to incarcerate Donald J. Trump for stand up for gun rights and stand up for the public. So not everybody in public office is a crook and criminal. Some of them skirt by. Some of them skirt by and get in, but they have to fight. They have to fight the government. They have to fight rogue investigations coming from Tennessee. Your Tennessee hellhole sends these people to incarcerate people that are honest running for public office. And I was in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and the Republican Party, a member of the Republican Party. Had it on a shirt, government official. Republican Party bragged about taking my gun rights away, that I had a gun and they took my gun while I had it legally, lawfully to defend myself. But you know what? Guess what? I got my gun back. The criminal charges dismissed. But they use that, and people on here use those lies as grounds to, he's not credible, he had a gun on him. Yeah, I did. I sure did. You remember that? You remember that when you mess with me. You remember that when you mess with me. The one they took, I got it back. It works well. I'm very proficient with it. I won awards in law enforcement who practice all the time. Law enforcement goes out once a year in service, some of them more. Some of them have firing ranges at their houses in the county. They practice with guns all the time. They get very proficient. It's like a quarterback practicing. He gets very, very good at throwing a football at the right target. Law enforcement gets very good at aiming a shot under stress conditions as best they can replicate them in practice. And some of them have been in situations in real life. And on that form, with experienced, well-trained people, I was number one with efficiency at putting a bullet in the target. So, hey, you unlawfully try to hurt me, and they tell you they took my gun. They don't tell you as emphatically, the news channel that said they took my gun didn't tell you that I got it back. And against someone who is trying to hurt me, I got a right to use it. We'll work out their crooked rogue stuff later. We'll work that out later, but I will defend my life. However, I got to do it. And you might get it done, I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You will have some scars from it. You won't walk away free. So yeah. I've asked people to slow down for you. I'm not recording. Got to take care of our kids, don't we? So yeah, speed limit's 30 on this road, but people go much, much faster than that. But they'll take away your gun rights, trespassing on your property, and it's hell in Tennessee. Constitution, they'll set it aside. We're going to talk about that case, Macon County, Tennessee, when we get downtown. Thank y'all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. You're watching Charles Van Morgan Show. We're talking about corruption in the government that nobody else talks about. Not to this level and extent. Not with this truthful fierceness. You won't hear this anywhere else. Why? Because you won't hear it anywhere else? Because it's dangerous. Because of the government. You know, there's a lot of thugs out here, a lot of homeless people that are dangerous. A lot of them on drugs. You know what I'm more in fear of? And I'm not talking about crumbling fear, but more aware as in a healthy fear. The government. Governor Bill Lee, I'm afraid of him. As far, and not trembling fear, but I'm talking about a fear as in he would try to cause somebody to hurt me. The governor would, while he's flying a Christian banner, saying he believes in your gun rights, saying he's against abortion, while he's promoted abortion. I mean, they lie to you. They lie. No one will tell you this stuff. With the truthfulness, the honesty, God-called sincerity that I do. Subscribe to the channel. Help us get this message out. And there's a lot of haters on here, I get it. Why are they on here? Because they're government bots that are trying to destroy my credibility. So every person on here that says something bad about me, think about why would they do that if I don't matter? Why would they do that? It's because I matter a hell of a lot. I'm telling the truth about your government in the state of Tennessee. It's happening all across America. They're setting the Constitution aside. Well, they set the Constitution aside during COVID, didn't they? And they're not going to do that anymore. They got that straightened out, didn't they? Hell no, they didn't. They're going to get worse. They're going to get worse. This is our last stand, Americans. This is our last stand, Tennesseans. We're going to, I'm going to say something very astonishing right after we're going to. But I want you to understand, we're going to, and I'm not the only one that said it, that's saying it. It is a biblical perspective. John MacArthur said this. He's deceased now. We're going to lose this fight on this planet Earth. We're going to lose this fight. God said that this is a fight, and we're going to lose on this planet Earth. This world, this United States, this government of America is not going to represent the mass populace of Tennesseans. We're trying to make it, but we're not going to make it do that. You say, why are you fighting? Because we need to salvage what we can. We need to fight like hell to stay alive, to back them off. You think Ukraine has it bad from Russia invading their country. We got it bad from the government in America, and specifically my concern right now is the state of Tennessee invading us, invading our rights on our own property, taking our weapons away. That the Second Amendment was given to us to defeat the government. This is the last stand. Subscribe to your channel. This is your channel. Help me get this message out. We're going to lose this fight. We're fighting a losing battle. What we can do is back them off. At least maintain a little bit of our constitutional rights as far and long as we can, because they're going away and they're going to be taken away. This is the world of evil government. If you think they represent your rights, look at what they have done to one of the greatest presidents of all time in American history that sits in the White House right now. He's got a felony on his record. Did he commit a felony? Hell no, I don't think so. They rigged an election to keep him out of the White House. This is one of the wickedest governments in the history of the world. They lie to you. Great deception in the last days. It's a miracle he got in office, and it's a miracle because people prayed and backed him off for now. But we're going to lose the White House. We're going to lose the White House. We're not getting the White House the next time around, I don't believe. Maybe we might if we fight like hell. Maybe we might if we fight like hell, but this is a losing battle in the long run. We're not going to win this battle. This is the earth. Our kingdom is in heaven. We're not in heaven yet. That's what my mother used to tell me. We're not winning this battle in this government on this earth. People worship politics like we're going to win. No, we're not. This is losing. It's already predestined. The loss happened in the Garden of Eden. This planet, humanity is on the way down. It's not on the way up. We're losing. I'm the only candidate in the history of politics who's ever told you we're losing. We're losing this battle. We're not going to win this ultimately. Our greatest hope is to win a few concessions, to back them off for us and our children as far as possible, but we're fighting a losing battle. This world is wicked. A great evil liar, fallen angel's in charge of this world. The prince of the power there. He's got power over the government. We're not going to win that on this earth. Our hope is in another government, in another world, after the Lord Jesus Christ comes back. So I'm not going to tell you we're going to straighten everything out. We're not even going to come close. We're going to, if we fight like hell, back them off to be able to spread the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's the best we can hope for. That's the best we can hope for, to save all we can, to get the gospel out as much as we can. But we're not going to win the government. They're going to put felonies on us. They're going to beat us. They're going to stone us. They're going to charge us with crimes we didn't commit. A lot of it is coming from Knoxville, Tennessee. Imagine that. Some of your worst corruption nationally comes right out of the great Republican state of Tennessee. The joke's on you, Tennessee. The prosecutor that lied about the president, that was trying to put him in jail for a felony, that had his house searched, his wife's underwear and children's underwear went through, was right out of the state of Tennessee. A Tennessee prosecutor, right out Nashville, a red state. Is it a red state or is it a lying people in power state? So the best we can hope for, in the words of John MacArthur, this is a losing fight. It's to back them off. Back them off as far and long as possible if we fight long and hard enough. And you can tell that I'm fighting long and hard enough. That's why they're attacking me. I've already got a mug shot. Why? Because I violated the law. Hello. How you doing? Thank you. God bless you. So the best we can do, if we fight like hell, legally and legitimately, and maintain our guns, is to back them off, to preserve as much of our rights as we can, because they're taking them from us. Wicked people in government power are setting aside your constitutional rights, even telling you on camera that they're doing that. So, a man in Macon County, Tennessee was, and I pulled his civil federal lawsuit accusations against the government, against the sheriff's department and the government in Tennessee, pulled the literal federal civil rights suit that he's filed. So many people got in here. Wow, almost 500 people like, share, comment, and pulled the actual allegations from the federal lawsuit that I paid for to get. So I have those. We're going to go over his accusations, and we're going to go over the video where law enforcement came on his property. This is police. This is your government. Came on his property where we have constitutional rights, supposedly, to protect us from Walmart. No, Walmart's not the government. Your constitutional rights protect you from the government, where the government, irrespective of the constitutional rights, came on his property, trespassed, because he asked them to leave. If somebody comes on your property, it's your property. The law recognizes property rights. The Constitution recognizes property rights. In fact, the Constitution recognizes the most sacred, most protected place that you have under the Constitution is the curtilage of your property. Around your house, you have more protection from the government than anywhere else. And they stomp over that. So do you have any protection anywhere? When they could come to your house without a warrant, without probable cause, and they've even stretched that. We'll go over, they can do that for a misdemeanor now. They do, because they made it easier under the law to violate your rights. So a third-party complaint, they do this to me all the time, third-party complaints. A lot of people hate me. It's called swatting, where they call in a false complaint, and then the entourage comes marching in without any evidence other than a third-party complaint, and harass and incarcerate you based on somebody that just because somebody doesn't like you. And they use the government as a weapon, and these idiots in law enforcement just march to the drum and violate your constitutional rights based on nothing. Somebody hates you, so they use the government to punish you. And these dumbasses fall right in line, and they do it because they hate you too. And they're wanting people to call to make these false complaints so that they can incarcerate you and beat you up and take your gun and haul you off to jail. And if you are so fortunate as not to run into one of the rogue judges, which is the real problem, then you might get out of it, but you had to pay a lot of money for an attorney, and you lost time in jail away from your family, and they violated the Constitution that they admit they set it aside for their punishment. And the colonel of the Highway Patrol is right behind that, saying you might beat the charge, means it might be unconstitutional. The reason why they arrest you might be unlawful. You might beat their unlawful charge. You might not, because they're real good at rigging a judge. But you will get the ride. So he doesn't care if he violates your constitutional rights, and they're doing it every day in Tennessee. You'll get the ride. That's the colonel of the Highway Patrol, who is related to a Tennessee Supreme Court justice. So you'd think they're going to rule in a citizen's favor against the powerful government. Your constitutional rights are worthless in the state of Tennessee. They set them aside. They set them aside. You can't do that if we're in America, but they do, and you're voting for these people that are setting your constitutional rights aside to suit their purpose of giving you the ride. And they will do that. Go mow your yard today. Hopefully a sheriff's deputy, a line sheriff's deputy, under a rigged election here in Knoxville, in Knox County, doesn't show up and put you in jail. I've seen them do it. Try to violate the Constitution. They've tried to do that to me. I was out, abiding by the law, campaigning, being able to campaign from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on people's. You can walk up to people's house, knock on their door, knock and talk, and that statute has been affirmed by the Tennessee Supreme Court. The legal right has been affirmed by the United States Supreme Court that you have a right to walk up to anybody's house without notice that you're not allowed to, knock on their door and ask them, give them political material, give them religious material, unless they tell you to leave. If they tell you to leave, then you have to leave. Or if you see a no trespassing sign, then you cannot enter the property. But if they don't have a no trespassing sign, or they don't tell you to leave, then you have to leave immediately. You can walk up to people's front door and knock on the door for political or religious purposes. Now, if you're a business, you have to get permission from the city and go through their procedure to get a license for however long you want one, and pay the fee to be able to campaign on people's doors for a business purpose. But political and religious, you don't need, the city can't make you get a permit, the county can't, for political and religious purposes. So I was knocking on people's doors. This is the Knox County Sheriff's Department, right here in Knoxville. The line Knox County Sheriff's Department, who has a sheriff in office right now under a rigged election. Brent Gibson, the election was rigged, and you know it. And I can say that in Tennessee. If he disagrees with me, go on television, say Charles Van Morgan's lying to you. I won this office legitimately. He can say that if he wants to. If he holds up a mic today, there'll be 10 microphones in his face wanting to hear what he's got to say. I mean, he's the great Brent Gibson, Sheriff of Tennessee, feared by all, because they'll set the Constitution aside. I don't know. I know they set the free and fair elections aside when he got elected, and held information that would have swayed people's votes about a criminal charge with people in the sheriff's department, and he should have known about it, because he has been in the sheriff's department for decades, and they were committing crimes allegedly in the sheriff's department. Why didn't he see it? Why didn't he report it? Because he's part of it, I believe. And they didn't put out that information because he was running against somebody who wasn't even in the sheriff's office, that couldn't have seen the crimes probably, that a lot of people would have voted for. He ran on the fact that he was an outsider, that they need to get away from the good old boy system. And it would have proved his point that there's a good old boy system when they indicted 11 former and current sheriff high-ranking officials. And that would have substantiated his point, but they waited till after the election to substantiate what he was saying and indicted him after the election. Had they not held on to a criminal accusations and indictment till after the election, people might have voted differently. So it's a rigged election. They withheld pertinent evidence that would have tended to undermine Brent Gibson, because he was at the sheriff's department. Did he know or should have known about the crimes that were being committed, allegedly, by sheriff's deputies? He was in it. He was driving down the street past the county sheriff's department garages, probably going in and out of them, where these county deputies were working on their cars on sheriff's department time, where they're supposed to be out fighting crime. Welcome, welcome, come on in. Where they're supposed to be out fighting crime. And instead of fighting crime, they were using seizure money to go buy parts to fix their old cars up. A nice hobby if you can afford it. And we're affording it for them because our tax money paid for their fixing their cars. Well, they're supposed to be out fighting crime. There wasn't enough murder going on, wasn't enough rape going on, wasn't enough crime going on. So they had enough time to be on the clock, high-ranking officials, working on their cars. You bought commodes for them. I wonder if they were gold plated. You bought duck blinds for them. And they were working on their cars while they were sworn under oath. They raised their hand to obey the Constitution, thank you, and abide by the law. And Britt Gibson was in the sheriff's department, although not indicted. Did he not see that stuff? And he's supposed to find crime. Crime was going on right under his nose. If he didn't see it, he should have. And I've met him. I'm not impressed. You go up to shake hands with him, he'll sit right there on his high throne. He's a servant. He ought to stand up for citizens in Knoxville. Why doesn't he stand up for citizens in Knoxville? Because nobody's demanded that he has, because people are afraid of him, because he's got the power of force and law. But it's supposed to be bridled by the Constitution. It's supposed to be held back by the Constitution, but he knows it's not, so you don't dare stand up against him. But I am. I'm standing up against him, because that's my forte. That's my calling. That's why you need to subscribe to the channel. This may never happen again throughout the history of America and Tennessee. It may never happen again. Somebody stand up against people in power who have the ability to hurt them and assassinate them, and have already tried. So the reason why I'm doing it is that's my forte. That's what I do. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to join the channel, contribute to the message. Let's get the message out. Tell the truth about their brutality. It's not brutal truth. My truth is peace. My truth is getting a peaceful message out, is voting these people out of office, calling them out when they do wrong, unafraid, but not stupid. I mean, I'm trying to be careful about what I do. The more people that are watching the channel, the more protection that I have against these rogue people. So we have UT students back. Oh, you UT student? So you're great school, man.
Yeah.
What are you studying?
I'm in the MBA program.
Okay, yeah. Business, that's kind of important, isn't it?
Yeah.
God bless you. So yeah, UT students are back. God bless UT students. But they are deceived by Mr. Bill Has-Been. But the sheriff department in Tennessee, when I was running before, I went out knocking on doors to get votes, Bill County and state, except one. So what we did, moved the needle, and we're moving it now. And it doesn't matter if I lose an election. I don't lose by fighting them back, because we're not going to win. We're going to hold them off and fight them back and knock their teeth down their damn throat, politically, so to speak. They don't understand a fighter. A fighter is not going to say, well, I'm not going to fight because I'm going to lose, or there's no way I can win. That's not the way a fighter thinks. That's not Sun Tzu's way. A fighter thinks that the decision has been made, it's on, and this is a political war. I'm not talking about violence or condone violence. They do. That's the reason why I'm fighting against them, because they condone violence. And this is on. This is fighting them back, and we can fight them back. We already have. Now, they won't tell you that because they lie. We've knocked their teeth down their throat, backed them off from here to California. You can tell by their whining. If the people on here whining are government bots, if we're not making any difference, why are they whining so much? Because we're punching them in the mouth, bloodying their nose, knocking the hell out of them, knocking them into next week where they don't know what the hell hitting them, and they're waking up complaining about, oh, squill, 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 oink, 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 he hit me. So if we're not making any difference, why are they whining so loud for? Why are they whining? Because we're knocking the hell out of them. We're beating them back. And we're not going to win, ultimately. This world is not my home. I'm just passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. But in order to bring more people with me, we got to have our First Amendment rights. And they're going to take those away. And they're trying to take them away every day. And they set aside the Constitution in Macon County, Tennessee. We're going to talk about that case. Show you the civil lawsuit and allegations. So I was knocking on doors. You can in Tennessee for political purposes or religious purposes. So I knocked on doors and left flyers against people in public power, against the government, telling people the truth about the government, which is what is protected speech. More than any speech that the government doesn't like. So I was passing out speech that the sheriff doesn't like. that Brent Gibson doesn't like. He can spread his message all he wants to. I won't stop him. He can spread his lies, get up. 10 cameras will be in front of him. I've just got a few million. Get some more. This is like better than 10 cameras. So I'm not stopping him. He'd like to stop me, and they tried to. I was out passing out flyers against the sheriff's department. Not intimate lawless action, not defamation, stuff true, against the government, against people in power, truthful stuff to warn you about them, which is protected speech. I got a right to say that, but they don't want people to be warned about them. Macon County don't want people to be warned about them. They want to do whatever the hell they want to do. And let's get across this road here. They want to take your constitutional rights away from you. That's what they want to do. So yeah, almost 300 people like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's get the likes and views up to help the algorithm. And I knocked on the door, left a flyer. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was a flyer against the government. Hello. Against the government. And hello. UT students, some of them talk, some of them won't. Hello. Some of them dead. Hello. Well, I tell you what, people. I'm just going to go home. People ain't nice. Wait till the sheriff's on their door, taking away their rights. I got more education than any of these students have here. Some of them are nice, some of them aren't. But, you know, some of them are just shy. They better get out of that. But I was knocking on doors. Legally, like the Constitution protects, speaking against the government. And I know that's dangerous. They're supposed to let me do that. They can campaign against me, they have. And it's to get out information against them, because you're only getting one side of the story. Because it is portrayed, it's a facade that we have free and fair elections, that you're allowed to criticize opponents in the government. No, you're not. No, you're not. They'll beat the hell out of you and put you in jail. You can run for public office in Tennessee as long as you praise people in power. If you do that, they'll probably leave you alone. If you go out and tell the truth about people in power, point out their crimes, like Brent Gibson, I think it's a fake election. I got a right to say that. He don't like that. Let's see if he puts me in jail. You know, I'll fight like hell, Brent. You ain't never seen a fighter like you seen me. Now, I won't resist arrest. But you try to hurt me in your unlawful arrest, and you won't never hear the end of it, boy. You got that, big fat man? I don't give a damn who you are. I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of God. You better honor my constitutional rights. If you don't like it, by God, and I'm not saying that slangily, you better respect them. You got to protect me while I'm speaking against you. You swore for public office. That's what you swore to, but that ain't what you really swore to, is it? You were in a meeting where they wouldn't even let me finish the speech. I bet they let you finish. Well, YouTubers all over the world, people watching this show are letting me finish. Brent, won't you apologize for your rogueness watching sheriff deputies still while you watched it, and then that don't come out until after you're elected. You're supposed to protect my right to say that, Brent. How about it, boy? You think I'm afraid of you? You know, I'm not. That's what scares them. Oh, he's not afraid. No, I'm not. I am lawless. I am not lawless. I am law-abiding. They are lawless. I am constitutional-abiding. They are not. I fear God. I'm going to teach them the damn fear of God through Charles Van Morgan when they try to step on me. I don't believe in violence. They do. So let's look at the beautiful view. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we are going to talk about Macon County, Tennessee. So I was knocking on doors in the sheriff's department. The rogue, crooked sheriff's department here in Knox County. And they're rogue as hell. You think they serve you and uphold the Constitution? They're a bunch of drunks out here running around high in authority, getting drunk, getting in fights with each other. It's the roguest sheriff's department I've ever seen in the state of Tennessee, right here in Knox County. Almost as bad as Chattanooga. They step all over your constitutional rights. In Macon County, they showed you what they think about the Constitution. They set it aside. Hello, fellas. So there's some nice young men. So they violate your constitutional rights. And I was knocking on doors about 5 o'clock. I left a flyer on the doors against people in government power. Truthful, not violent, not threatening, just information, the other side about them that's true, that could hurt their chances of getting voted in. But they won't allow that. They want only good stuff said about them. And you're not allowed to, supposed to be, under the Constitution, but they set the Constitution aside in order to win power and votes. And I put a flyer on somebody's door, 5 o'clock, knocked on the door, nobody came, left the flyer on the door, just like Brent Gibson does. But Brent Gibson's flyers is pro-Republican Party, so that's okay. Or pro-Democratic Party, that's okay. You can do that. But if you exercise your constitutional rights and speak out against both the damn rogue pieces of shit, dirty, God-forsaken, deceitful liars, have I been clear enough? Then they will not let you say that, even though you're allowed to, even though it's not promoting intimate lawless action. I'm not promoting intimate lawless action. I'm saying vote. Even though it's not defamation, which is, this is true. That's the defense of defamation. True. I'm telling true stuff about them, which might cause them not to get elected. The public needs to hear this side. That's what they know. That's why they harass me. Set the Constitution aside, Brent Gibson. Well, you know, liberty or death, boy. You fat liar, scumbag that's sat in the sheriff's office for years and protected the hierarchy over there. That's so disgusting. The stench is risen all the way to God Almighty, and some of them they're trying to get justice now. And rigged election. Have I said what I thought about Brent Gibson? He's a turd, a dirtbag, a thug with a badge that'll set your constitutional rights aside. He doesn't like me speaking against him. The Constitution protects us, Brent. You've got to protect me while I'm saying it, will he? Hell no. I'll tell you what he did. What they did in the sheriff's department. And he was in the sheriff's department when they did this dirty deed. He knows he was high up in the chain. High up running their facade that they're out here to protect you. They're not out here to protect you. They're out here to protect themselves. Protect their hierarchy. Protect their power. Set the Constitution aside. So, knocked on the door. Left my flyer. Knocked on another door. Left my flyer against the government. I'll still do it to this day. Still do it to this day. I put one up in front of the city council building. It's protected under our constitutional way of life. Criticizing the government is protected. Even the government that you're criticizing is supposed to protect you while you're criticizing them. That's what they signed up for. They say, no, wait a minute, you can't protect us. We're not protecting you while you're criticizing us truthfully. Well, that's what you signed up for. What the hell's the matter? You don't like that part of it? Then get the hell out of our offices. Get the hell out. If you don't want to protect people that are criticizing you, not promoting intimate lawless action or defaming you, saying truthful stuff about you, get the hell out of those offices. I didn't swear to protect you. You swore to protect me. So I don't like that part of it, so they don't do that part of it. When that comes along, and I'll show you verbatim words from a sheriff's deputy in the state of Tennessee, we're setting the Constitution aside for that. Pick and choose what constitutional rights they want to protect. Yeah, that's how rogue they are. Keep on voting Republican. And that stands for your gun rights. Well, they got your hand in your pocket taking your damn gun, saying, I believe in constitutional rights. No, they don't. Bunch of damn dirty liars. They're just as bad as Democrats, maybe a little bit worse, because they lie about it. They lie. So we're going to talk about that. Let me finish my story. I'll make a short story long. So I was out passing out flyers. running for public office, truthful information about them. You can see my hat here. In God we trust. And truthful information about them that was not inviting intimate lawless action, that was not defamatory. It's true. Had they had a problem with it, they could sue me for defamation. But they don't do that. They won't win in a legitimate court, which they don't have legitimate courts in Tennessee. They got courts rigged by them. So, here's what happened. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Hello. So yeah, here's what happened. And it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I knocked on the door, knocked on the next door, and then I was walking down the sidewalk to cover the area across the street. And a man comes driving down the road, high rate of speed, sees me walking with my campaign sign. So he sees what I'm doing, a civilian that doesn't know the law, that doesn't know my rights, and he thinks that I don't have a right to knock on his door and ask to give him political material. And I do. God we trust. Yeah, there we go, some family. He can ask me to leave, and I have to leave, which I would have. But he doesn't have a right to accost me. So he drives down the street, high rate of speed, swerves, pulls out in front of me while I'm on the sidewalk. And tells me to stay off his property. And okay, I will. Says that I woke his wife up at 5 o'clock. She has to go to work. Which, I hate that, but how about a no trespassing sign? You put a sign on your door. I don't know what's going on at your house, and I'll tell you what I do know. If you don't elect me into office or somebody that I endorse, Sheriff's Department's going to knock on your door, and they're going to violate your constitutional rights, come in your house and arrest your wife, and she won't ever get to work. So politics is kind of important to get the other side out about the government. Now, he's trying to deter me from getting the other side out about the government, a citizen who doesn't know his rights. He's never been to law school. He doesn't know my rights, that I have rights against him, civil rights. One of them is not to be accosted. So he asked me to take my flyer back, wads it up and throws it on the ground. I'm not picking up the flyer that he threw on the ground. Tells me not to come back to his house. I woke up his wife and I said, listen, get out of my way. Leave me alone. I'm not coming back to your property. And I went on about my way, knocking on doors, and I didn't think nothing of it, but he, third party complaining. So he calls the Sheriff's Department. Says, hey, a man knocked on my door, gave me this political information, left it on my door, woke up my wife. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The Sheriff's Department, if they are trained under the Constitution, is supposed to tell him, you know, we'll go out and drive around the area and we'll ask to speak to him if he will, but and see what's going on. But if he's involved in a political campaign between 8 a.m., between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., he can knock on your door. You have a no trespassing sign that he could have seen. Did you tell him not to come back? Has he came back after you told him not to leave? Otherwise, what he's doing is protected. He can do that. Leave him alone. Do not accost him. We'll arrest you. Leave him alone. We got to protect him. Well, he's saying stuff against you. That doesn't matter. The Constitution says he's got a right to speak against us. We'll protect his right to speak against us. But they won't do that. You think they'll do that? Hell no. That's what's disgusting. They go out and say stuff about me all the time on their state radios, on their county radios, in their offices, in their academies, teach against me, endanger my life, unlawfully. Violating statutes, the Hatch Act, the Tennessee Hatch Act. They do that illegally, but I'm not allowed to fight back constitutionally. I am, and I'm going to. And I'll fight like hell to protect my constitutional rights. So, walking down the street, walked to another man's house, knocked on his door. I'm going to do this. This is my lawful, legal right. I'm going to knock on doors, just like I am allowed to constitutionally, and pass out information warning the British are coming. Brent Gibson's taking over Knox County Sheriff's Department. Turned a blind eye to crime going on. I can say that. He's got to protect me while I'm doing that. He won't. But I don't need his protection. If he tries to hurt me with serious bodily injury and or death while I'm doing what I'm allowed to do, I'll defend my life, Brent, boy. You think this is a freaking game? It's not a game. It's fighting to protect people so that we can get out the Constitution, and more importantly, the gospel of Jesus Christ. He'll take that right away and buy himself a commode, or go use other people's commodes that have bought it off your tax dollars. Now, I'm just telling you that what's going on. He ought to protect me while I'm doing that. So I knocked on a man's door. A sheriff's deputy comes pulling in, jumps out of his car and, hey, come here. I'm not doing anything illegal. I don't have to go talk to him. And I said, no. Oh, thank you. I'm busy. Bye. Leave me alone. I'm running for public office. You have no right to stop me. Now, he didn't tell me I was detained or anything. I went to the next house, and he got mad. That's the way to run for election. By pissing off a sheriff's deputy? Yeah, it's a way to run for election. A lot of people don't like sheriff's deputies because you violate people's rights. They know it. They're on my side. So I told him I'm passing out leaflets, running for public office on the ballot. Leave me alone. I'd been stopped before by them, detained for exercising my constitutional rights. They can't detain me. You can't have a deputy while you're walking down the street enjoying the beautiful view on a public sidewalk say, stop. I want to ask you some questions. You can say, well, you can go on all day long. Bye. If they say you're detained, then you have to stop, but it's unlawful. So the sheriff's deputy in Knox County is going to tell me how to conduct my campaign. He's put himself inside my campaign, how to act toward people. If I want to go around raising hell running for public office, as long as I don't commit a crime, I can do that. I can do that. Is that the strategy? Well, what I tell you, look at the history. I'm not violating any law. I'm not threatening intimate lawless action. I'm getting public attention. It's easy to do. You know how you do it? You disagree with the sheriff's deputy. Oh my gosh, oh, you can't disagree with me. So I went to the next door. He told me to stay off people's property. What the sheriff's deputy said. Stay off people's property. An order from the sheriff's department. What if I'd have said, vote for Brent Gibson? I'm going up to this property to say, vote for Brent Gibson, sheriff. Or Sheriff Spangler is a good man, keep him in office. What if I'm passing out? Oh, you can go on people's property to do that. But stay off people's property running down our department. Then only one side of the story gets out. The side they're great, everybody thinks they're great, great. Everybody goes around there, they're great. While they're stepping on your property, taking your guns away, they're great. Here, you have my gun. While I'm mowing the yard, you're great. How about somebody says, wait a minute now, I can make a county, you're not great, that's unlawful, don't do that. I'm not going to put up with that. I'm going to speak out against that. Campaign to get you out of office so you can't do that under color of law. So he's stopping me from passing out bad information about the government. I mean, you go over to Russia, you say something against Putin, and you'll get arrested. May end up getting some poisoned food. You do that in America, you may end up getting the hell beat out of you, incarcerated, getting killed. So what the hell's the difference? We're helping Ukraine against Russia. How about we help American citizens against our government in this losing battle that all we're going to do is fight them off? I'm telling you, this is a losing battle. They're crooked as hell. They're violent, dangerous, dirty, nasty, constitutional violating thugs that tell you while they're taking your gun that they don't care that you have a gun, and they wouldn't take it for nothing while they're actively doing that. They did that in Macon County. So this sheriff's deputy in Knox County, Tennessee, more than once, at that time, I told him, no, I'm not stopping. I went to the next door, passed out some truthful information about the government. He's supposed to protect me while I'm doing that. Told me, don't go on people's property. I said, no, I'm going to go on people's property. I got a right to do that. If they ask me to leave, I'll leave. So he tries to rig up a charge. That's what they do. They rig things. You didn't commit a crime, but they're going to rig it up where it looks like it, where they can give you the ride, take your rights away. And they did that in Chattanooga. You'd think this is fun and games, that I'm on here because I'm enjoying all this stuff. I like to fight. God's called me to fight. But this stuff, look at that. You're not supposed to stop for them to turn. So we may have another wreck here. These people are stopping for them to turn left. And they're not supposed to turn left. Look at the sign up there. There's a no. Yeah. There's a no left turn sign up there. But those people going to the city county building are government officials and judges, and they turn there if they want to. Yeah, there's a no turn sign. Look at that car right there turning, where there's a no turn sign. Because he's in a government vehicle. In a government vehicle. See that no turn sign? See that University of Tennessee van right there? Yeah. The law is for you. So there's one to run out of gas, I guess. Sheriff's deputy. The law's for you. So I told him no. Went to the next door. Went on somebody's property like I have a legal right to do. I mean, I follow the rules. I was on the ballot. I follow the rules. It doesn't matter if you follow the rules. That is irrelevant. We're going to set the Constitution aside while we do our dirty like they do in Russia. You better help me fight the American government like Mr. Donald Trump's done. Not worry about Ukraine. We got a problem on our hands right here in America. You can ignore it all you want to. They'll be nice to you while they're telling you, we respect your right to carry a gun, while they're taking it right off of you and taking your gun and giving you a ride to jail. While you're mowing your yard on your own property based on a third-party complaint, they love it. They promote lies. So, third-party complaint, sheriff's deputy shows up, tells me, you better not go campaign against us. Stay off people's property. No, I can do that. That's legal for me to do that. I'm on the ballot running for public office. I can do that. If that was a sheriff or somebody that was in power, they'd let them do that. But Charles Van Morgan or somebody with a lot of money. But the Constitution is, the First Amendment says, if you got money and power, then you get rights. That ain't what it says. That ain't what it says. And they'll have to kill me. I'm going to exercise my constitutional rights, Brent Gibson. I can care less what your lying blind eye says. It ain't going to fly with me. You're not scaring me. I may get to my future home earlier than I anticipated. You got that, boy? You want to enjoy your big high retirement that you get from the sheriff's department? All the luxury and the wealth and power that this world has handed you on a silver platter while you're stepping on the Constitution? You go right ahead. You screw with me, I'm going to defend myself. You got that, boy? You think I'm playing? I hope you do. Or you could step back and protect me while I'm exercising my constitutional rights, which they haven't in the past. You don't like what I'm saying. I don't like you running rogue against people in Tennessee, causing death and sorrow on the roads. And I'll fight you. Share, subscribe, send this to them. I went down there to the sheriff's department and handed it to them myself in person. Not every one of them's bad. Most of them are. I'm glad I'm doing it. A lot of sheriff deputies are glad I'm doing this. This is a fight that we're not going to win. We're going to back them off, though. We're going to maintain some dignity and protection for ourselves and our family, fighting not for Ukraine, against the government in the state of Tennessee. That's the fight. Get the target right. Not unlawfully, constitutionally, legally, by information, putting the truth out about them, legally, asking them to protect us. They won't. They won't. I don't need their protection. They're not even very good at what they do anyway. I was a better shot than any damn one of them. So, the sheriff's deputy accosted me. I kept on going. He told me that wasn't the way to get elected, so he's going to tell me how to get elected. He's going to run my campaign. First of all, I'm never going to get any votes if I don't go out and meet people, exercise my rights. And then I went to the next house. He drove down the street. You know, his underwear, his panties between his legs, the sheriff's deputy, because I told him the business. He thought I was a toy. Oh, yes, sir, deputy, I'm scared of you. You can take my constitutional rights, all right. I'll let you run over my family and their kids after them under authority of law. Bullshit. Bullshit, I'll fight like hell. Politically. So, I walked back down the street, and I was talking to residents about what the sheriff's department did. They was on my side. People are. They think that you honor the badge, and I do, and people do, when they do right, but people know they don't do right all the time. People aren't stupid. And I noticed the deputy sheriff was at the house. Now let's get this. At the house that I had been walking off of when he first accosted me, which is interesting because he's seen me on somebody else's property, which I have a right to do. The no trespassing signs, no notice, and I knocked on the man's door and asked him for his vote and asked him if he wanted the material, and he said he did, handed it to him, walked off his property, and that's when the sheriff's department accosted me. Told me to come here, and I said, no, I don't have to talk to you. I'm not doing anything wrong, leave me alone. And he said, well, you're not running for public office the right way, that way. Why? Because I'm not kissing your ass. I got to kiss the government's ass to run for government against them. And went to the next door. When I was coming back by, I noticed the deputy sheriff at the house that he'd seen me walking off the property. So he didn't see me on the property of the house that was original complainant. So he's wanting to rig it up here a little bit. He's seen me on private property. So he's going to the house without even a call to where I'd been, knocking on the door, to talk to that man at that house where he's seen me on that private property. He's seen me on the property. And he's wanting to talk to that man to try to get him to initiate some kind of enforcement action against me for politically campaigning. And he's talking to him. I've seen the deputy sheriff talking to the guy. So he's not even gotten a call from that guy. He's initiating, trying to stop a political candidate from campaigning lawfully because he's seen me on that property. And I seen him talking to the man. I think, well, he's trying to rig up a charge against me. Initiating it. He didn't even get a call from that man. Got a call from somebody down the street, but he didn't see me on their property. So he goes to the property where he's seen me at and told me to stay off people's property, which he has no lawful authority to do. Tell me not to campaign. Well, I'm going to campaign, Brent Gibson. You want to come and watch me? Get your fat ass out of your car and try to stop me. If you say stop, I'm not letting you campaign, I'll stop. But get out of your fat ass car like they've done in the past and tell me I can't campaign, and then try to hit me over the head and see what the hell happens to you. See what happens to you, Brent. I'll fight like hell to protect my life. Got a right to. And you might have been a football player. You ain't never seen a South Knoxville real fighter that grew up without a dad. You'll wake up next week in a best hospital money could buy from the sheriff's department, taxpayer paid, wondering what the hell happened to you, boy. I tell you what, you tried to hurt somebody that ain't gonna die, they ain't gonna give up their life. So somebody send this to Brent. Tell him I'm gonna knock on doors in Knox County. If he don't like it, he better lump it, or I'll put a damn lump on his fat ass head. Out at a sheriff's department for years watching crimes, and then gets elected in a fake election. So I seen the sheriff's deputy talking to the guy, and he talked to him, then he walks off. I guess he didn't get what he wanted, because I seen the man at the door and he waved at me and held his thumb up, and the sheriff's department went on down the road, put his tail between his legs, got his panties out of a wad and went on, trying to stop me from campaigning against them. I'm allowed to do that under the Constitution, Brent. I'm gonna do it. You don't like it? That's your damn tough luck, boy. So that's what they do. They won't let you speak against them, but I'm going to. So let's talk about this case in Tennessee, in Macon County, where the government, at gunpoint, took somebody's gun rights away on their own property, trespassed Somebody trespassed, several thugs trespassed on somebody's private property with guns, disarmed him with the threat of about 5 other guns, disarmed him on his own property. And they did that in Macon County, Tennessee. So here's what happened. In Tennessee, the government violates your constitutional rights at gunpoint. Not thugs you see in a back alley at night that you know not to go. I'm talking about while you're at home mowing your yard. This happened in Tennessee. At home mowing your yard. The government shows up, takes your guns, puts you in jail. Macon County, Tennessee, it happened. They didn't actually pull a gun on him, but they had him. Zebulon Passmore. Gunpoint means government ultimately backed up by armed authority, handcuffs, booking in jail. He was mowing his open field. Deputies came onto his property. They disarmed him. They demanded identification. They put him in handcuffs based on a third-party complaint. A 911 call may justify an investigation, but it does not automatically justify detention, disarming, and arrest. That's today's story. The enemy is the government that we're not going to beat. The best we can do is hold them off. An allegation is not a finding. An arrest is not proof of guilt. This mischarge is not automatic proof of misconduct. A civil complaint is not proof of liability. But we'll separate facts, allegations, and commentary in court decisions. Here's what happened. This is August 8, 2025. Macon County, Tennessee. The property owner was Zebulon Passmore. Could be as well you, mowing your yard on your own damn property with a gun, and police show up and they tell you that they got a complaint from a neighbor who admits hostility towards you that you had fired a gun that maybe in the air, he couldn't say that, but maybe in the air, he assumed it was in the air, but he couldn't say that, but he knew you had fired a gun in the county where you're allowed to fire a gun on your own property. So they had no complaint of any illegal activity. So they're allowed to go onto his property without notification that they can't and talk to him and ask him if he fired a shot in the air, if he did anything illegal. Now, he doesn't have to talk to him. And the incident was covered on body cam. And this is a situation I've run into a lot. Third-party complaints that the government acts on unlawfully. The person complaining against you may be the one committing the crime. And this was covered on body cam by the civil rights attorney. And we'll listen to the complainant as he is warning law enforcement.
Tennessee. Anytime we deal with a call that has to do with a gun, I'm gonna take it off you, son. Okay.
This is where they're taking his gun away from him. A citizen on his own property, protected by the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment, that we've got a right to our papers, persons, effects against unreasonable search and seizure by the government. So here's the government.
This is Zebulon He likes to shoot guns on his own property in rural Tennessee.
Anytime we deal with a call that has to do with a gun, I'm gonna take it off your side, okay?
No.
Yes.
Well, if that's what you're going to do, then I'm saying it's not okay as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, well, we're gonna take it off your side.
This is his neighbor who doesn't.
So, the Sheriff's Department, Macon County, Tennessee, took his gun off of him while he's on his own property mowing his yard, based on a third-party complaint that didn't even allege the elements of a crime. He said that he fired a gun. He assumed that he fired it in there, which would have been illegal, possibly. But he's on his own property, he can fire a gun. So he's reporting a possibility of a crime. So they don't know that whether or not he's committed a crime or not. As you look at the beautiful view, they think that he has, but they don't know. Macon County Sheriff's Department on somebody else's property, taking a gun off him. Now here is the
cops and tells them, this is Zebulon.
Here is the complainant. Here's the complainant.
In line with us, he shoots every friggin' day we come out. If we're outside, he's out here shooting. And it's a constant agitation with him.
I got you.
He said he assumes that Zebulon shot up into the air, though he admitted that he didn't actually see him do it because he was standing.
So, he doesn't even meet the elements that he's committed a crime. And he is reporting that he may have committed a crime, but he don't know. So they got a right to go show up on his property and talk to him if he allows them to talk to him. If he doesn't, which he told them to leave his property, then they have to leave his property. If they don't, they're just like any other thug that's trespassing on your property. And so they became thugs. They became thugs because they trespassed on his property and took his gun from him. He was saying to take his gun. He asked them to leave his property. At the point they don't leave his property, they're thugs, just like any group of 5 men carrying arms that say, no, we're not leaving your property. Unless they had proof at that point of a crime, which they should have arrested him for, right then. Otherwise, they have to go before a neutral third party, a judge, where you don't get a neutral third party in Tennessee. You get one of their thugs that'll sign any damn thing. They had to go in front of a neutral third party judiciary. And even if they're rogue, they still have to go through that process and tell the judge what evidence they have of a felony or misdemeanor committed at that time, and then go get a warrant and go on his property and arrest him. They didn't do that. They went on his property and arrested him without a warrant, with him asking him to leave, and took his gun from him.
On the other side of a van, the neighbor complained.
So,
You're not ID.
That's why I've not first looked to categorize the encounter into one of these three.
So they set
in order to understand the rights of play. Here, the officers
his
right past the consensual
constitutional rights aside. They set his constitutional rights aside, and a deputy sheriff even said that they were setting his rights aside. And I'll show you on the video where they say they're setting his rights aside.
That's a secondary charge. You got to have a crime first, and I have not committed any crime.
How do we know this was a detention as opposed to a consensual encounter?
And
generally, police, you can always confirm whether or not you're being detained. He was not.
And
My
they
property because because of y'all's lawful orders, not because of
Therefore, there's not going to be much dispute that this was a detention, and therefore reasonable suspicion was required. So for
They
this
said
to
it's
be a
constitutional
lawful
right to decide.
detainment, an officer needs specific objective
deputy even
facts,
said
not just
that.
a hunch, indicating that a crime or violation has occurred. The officer must be able to clearly explain
They even said
the
that.
neighbor or the officers saying, well, we don't know for a fact that he didn't shoot into the air. Who knows? He may have shot into the air, even though he denied.
You have proof that shots fired. Matter of fact, you didn't even say shots fired at him. You said shots fired at him. You said, how in the world do we know, since you said there were shots fired, that you didn't shoot them at him? She didn't even say shot at him. She said shot in the air. Shot at him would come up on your part.
You said that you shot in the ground. How do we know if you shot in the ground or shot up in the air? Because they called in and said you shot up in the air. How do we know if you shoot in the air?
Well, then they need proof, or else they're filing false out. They're filing. Are you all right? Any answer? Either they are filing false allegations or your investigation will prove otherwise. But until you have the proof, the burden of proof is not on me to prove that I didn't shoot in the air. Now I'm sitting here telling you I'm not a moron, so I didn't shoot in the air.
Okay. We're not saying you're moron, but
No, anybody that does is, though.
we either need an ID or name and date of birth.
Hands behind your back.
Here,
Yeah.
the officers gave the commonly used
So
take.
yeah,
The male deputy then responded.
this is them approaching me.
Right over here.
Well, let's get back this way. It's closer to the top. How are you?
Doing all right.
Before any discussion takes place,
Well, if that's what you're going to do, then I'm saying it's not okay as far as I'm concerned.
the
Well,
officer
disarming.
ignores him. He places his hand pointing.
That's why there's so many of us coming out here.
Zebulon responded that there's no crimes.
As soon as we figure this out, if there's nothing wrong, I'm gonna give you your gun back. I'm cool with everybody having guns. I'm
Right
cool with
in
everybody walking
on
around.
his own
The
property.
female deputy then asks Zebulon if
So I dropped 2 shots in the ground to scare them all back to their coop. But it wasn't in the air. There was 2 shots fired, and it was in the ground. It clears them out fast. It's not the first time I've done it.
I understand that completely.
Zebulon explained that the shots that
And I've done no crime.
Listen to me.
But I'm just telling you everything. No, actually, I don't have an ID on me, but I'm not going to ID. I'm not giving you my name and date of birth because there's been no crime.
he expresses that he wants to protect his Fourth Amendment rights, but the female deputy responds that the Fourth Amendment at this point gets put aside.
I'll protect my Fourth Amendment.
The Fourth Amendment at this point gets put aside when,
It's not okay.
I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to resist, but I'm not going to ID.
Look, man.
What's this? The
The
Fourth
Fourth
Amendment.
Amendment at this point gets put aside when,
The Fourth Amendment's put aside.
I'm not
Now
going to
play
fight
this
you.
again.
I'm not.
That's kind of big, isn't it?
Side.
I'll
The
protect my
Fourth
Fourth
Amendment
Amendment.
gets put aside.
the Fourth Amendment at this point gets put aside when,
The Fourth Amendment gets put aside.
I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to resist,
Fourth
but I'm not going to
Amendment.
ID.
Look,
I've done no crime.
Listen to me.
But I'm just telling you
Gets
everything.
put aside.
You don't want to ID me.
So they put the Fourth Amendment aside. So your constitutional rights get set aside. This man is on his own property. The police have a third-party complaint of him firing a gun, which he can on his own property. And they disarm him on his own property. His Fourth Amendment right, violate his Second Amendment right by taking his gun from him on his own property. He tells them to get off his property, and they ignore him and violate his constitutional rights. Now the charges were dismissed, but he still went to jail. And they added charges and increased his bond because he fought back legally. He exercised his rights and wouldn't give them ID. They had no right to have ID from him. He hadn't committed any crime because he knew his rights. So they asked him about firing a gun, which the complainant said he fired a gun, which is not illegal. They asked him about firing it in there, which would have been illegal. And he told them he fired the gun in the ground to make his chickens go back from under his truck back to the chicken coop, which he'd done often. And so he explained it. Everything's lawful and legal. They had no evidence he committed a crime. They accused him of committing a crime anyway. And he said he fired into the ground near his van to move his chickens away in the county. That's his explanation. Nothing illegal. And it's shooting on private property. That's not a law-free zone, not a constitutional-free zone. Bullets can reach it. Local orders may apply. But in the county, there's no laws that prevent him from firing a gun on his own property. Hearing 2 gunshots does not automatically establish reckless endangerment either. The investigation was proper if he wanted to freely talk to them. If he didn't, under the 5th Amendment, you don't have to testify against yourself. Deputies allowed to investigate a report of possible dangerous gunfire deserves attention. The issue is not whether deputies could ask. The issue is whether each escalation had lawful facts supporting it. And they didn't. And they said, because they had a call from a third party, they had to identify him. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Anybody can call in anything. That doesn't mean that they had to come out to his property and disarm him. The Sixth Circuit rule. Tennessee's in the Sixth Circuit. In Northrop, the court said legal firearm possession and a 911 call do not by themselves justify detention and disarming. Officers needed evidence of criminality or dangerous activity, which they had none, because the complainant said that he heard the gunshots, but he didn't know anything illegal happened. Even the officer said, we're not saying that you committed a crime. What legally justified the seizure? Nothing. The encounter turned from gunfire to identification. Passmore refused to produce identification. You say, why shouldn't he just identify himself? Because he shouldn't have had to. He's on his own property. They're thugs trespassing with a uniform. He said no crime had been established. He invoked the 4th Amendment. The central question became whether Tennessee law made that refusal an offense. The video commentary reports an officer initially announcing failure to identify disorderly conduct. But the public booking record lists reckless endangerment and resisting arrest. That describes the arrest labels, not any illegal conduct. The booking reference that they stuck this guy with, reckless endangerment, resisting stop, frisk, halt, arrest, or search, which he done none of that, a $25,000 bond. Booking, records report, accusations, no guilt. And here's his booking information. On your own property, mowing your yard, in the county. Is what they charged him with. Wow. Here's the actual reckless endangerment, $250,000. Resisting stop, frisk, halt. That's what they charged him with. Over mowing his yard with a gun on him after legally firing his gun safely. The Macon County Times article supplied for this show reports that all charges were dismissed October 2025. They were dismissed by nolo prosse, is what he says, which means that they can bring them up later if they want to. Dismissed does not mean the arrest was automatically illegal. Charges may be dismissed for several reasons. Dismiss also means the government did not obtain a conviction. The legality of the original arrest remains a separate question. The biggest question, does Tennessee have a stop and identify law? Tennessee has a limited identification law. It's not the same law as Nevada had, but they can identify you to a limited extent, but that's not a separate charge. When the law took effect, Public Chapter 409, July 1st, 2025. So they are enacting more laws to give the government more power over you, even on your own property. What officers may do. With reasonable suspicion of a crime, an officer may ask for a suspect's name. That means specific facts must reasonably suggest a state law or local ordinance was violated. An officer asking a question is not the same as a citizen committing a crime by refusing. So, in that particular case, what they had was a man telling them that his neighbor in the county had fired a gun. He didn't know if he fired it illegally, but he was reporting that he had fired a gun, that he fires a gun a lot, which he's allowed to do. The neighbor that made the complaint even reported that that was probably the stupidest thing he's ever done to make that complaint. So the neighbor is reporting legal activity, his neighbor firing a gun, saying he assumes that he fired in an illegal manner, but cannot say that he did fire in an illegal manner because he went behind his van when he heard the shot, so he doesn't know. So they're not investigating something that they know to be a crime. They're investigating a suspected crime that they don't have enough information even to suspect he committed a crime. All they have is gunshots on private property in the county. So they can't ID him, and they do anyway, and they disarm him. The law enacted is offense intentionally giving a false or fictitious name to an officer who has lawfully detained or arrested the person. That's a Class C misdemeanor. So the Tennessee law does not give them a right to demand ID when you're not suspected of a crime. They had no suspect of a crime in this case. They had reports of a legal activity in the county that they're allowed with permission if the man wants to talk to him to investigate it. If they don't, if he don't want to talk to him, they have to leave his property. They can't demand entrance on your property to investigate a crime without a warrant. They didn't have one, so they should have left. So they're no better than thugs that are armed robbers that come on your property and try to steal your gun from you. In fact, they're worse because they're acting under government authority. So, Tennessee law expressly says failure and inability to produce a physical identification card or driver's license is not a violation of this new false name offense. So they can't charge you with failing to identify yourself. If you identify yourself falsely, then that's a charge. The original bill would have criminalized intentionally refusing to provide one's name. The Senate removed that refusal offense because final passage, the proposed refusal crime did not become law. So it's not a criminal offense to refuse to give ID in the state of Tennessee. It is a criminal offense to give a false name when you're supposed to by law, when you're being legally detained and suspected of a crime that they can articulate. The bottom line, an officer may ask, but do not give a false name. You do not have to carry a physical ID card. Merely because you're standing on property, mostly important, Public Chapter 409 does not itself make a simple silence or refusal to state a name a crime. And that's the law in Tennessee. You don't have to identify yourself unless you're legally detained. Now, I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just telling you from my perspective, I do have a JD. I'm not telling you don't identify yourself. They will cause you trouble, unlawful trouble, but they'll cause you some trouble. And I always identify myself. I don't care if they know who I am. So let's look at the police encounters, casual conversation. The police officer can come up and talk to you anytime they want to. Just like any citizen can come up and talk to me, or I can go talk to any citizen I want to. Casual conversation with consent, no suspicion required. They can come up and say, hey, there's a murder down the street. Did you do it? Or can I see your hands? You got blood on your hands. You're free to leave. You don't have to consent to a consensual encounter. The other one is investigative detention, reasonable suspicion required. They got to be able to articulate that you are suspected of a crime. Now, they don't have to tell you right then, but with lawful authority to detain you, they have to have reason later if you sue them in court. Why are they stopping you in the first place? Why do they say stop, you're not free to go? Or if they're just asking you questions, ask them, am I free to go? If they say no, they don't have to tell you their reasons right then, but they have to have them, so if you sue them for unlawful detention, they can say, well, this is the reason why we detain him. They have to have that reason. You can ask them what the reason is. A lot of people think they have to have court on the side of the road. They don't have to, but they have to have a reason, or at least be able to come up with a damn good one later, made up after the fact, which is what they usually do to detain you. So in this case, they're detaining this man in Macon County for mowing his yard on his own property, for firing a gun on his own property in the county, which he's allowed to do, without anybody seeing him fire a gun at anybody or do anything unlawfully. They're assuming that he broke the law. That was a consensual encounter. They turned a consensual encounter into an unlawful investigative detention without reasonable suspicion, especially after he did talk to them and denied their any criminal activity. Investigative detention requires reasonable suspension required. And number 3, a probable cause arrest. They have to have a set of facts and circumstances that would make a reasonable person believe that a crime is going to be or has been committed by the person in question. A set of facts and circumstances that would lead a reasonable person to believe that a crime is going to be in the future, not necessarily has been committed, and the person's going to commit it, or that a crime has already been committed and the person that you've got in custody is the one that committed that crime. That's reasonable suspicion, probable cause. Trustworthy facts supporting a fair probability the person committed a specific offense. And in that case in Macon County, they didn't have that. Probable cause is not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's more than irritation, speculation, or assumption, which is all they had. What a 911 call can do. A credible witness can create probable cause. Police do not always have to witness the offense personally, but they should examine what did the caller actually see. Was it firsthand? Was the caller credible? Was there a motive to exaggerate? Was anything corroborated? So, in Tennessee, and we're fighting them off because we're not going to win this fight. They're getting worse and worse. You're not going to have any constitutional rights. You better elect good people, not just because they say they're Republican. They passed a new law. When I went to the academy in 1990, the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, and I went to a Sheriff's Department Corrections Academy in 1989, and the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in 1990, the law was you cannot arrest for a misdemeanor unless it's committed in your presence. That means a third-party complaint for a misdemeanor, which is a minor offense, which is anything you can get jail time for, as you look at the beautiful view, for less than 11 months and 29 days. Anything that you can't be sentenced for over a year for is a misdemeanor offense. 1129. Vagrancy. You don't get, it's not a felony unless you're accused of doing it several times. Or panhandling, it's not a felony. Aggravated panhandling is. So, used to be that you cannot arrest for misdemeanor unless it's committed in your presence. There were some exceptions to that. One of them was domestic violence, where they changed the law. So many people getting killed in domestic violence that they changed it to where it was pro-arrest for misdemeanor assaults and domestic violence cases. So that was an exception. But the general rule was you cannot arrest for misdemeanor unless it's committed in your presence. You memorize that. That was a test question. So what that meant was, if somebody reports to a police officer that somebody is committing vagrancy, say they're hanging around a building on private property that says no loitering, and somebody calls that's going in the store and they say, this man, a red shirt, white blue jeans, a tattoo that says loitering on his left shoulder, is loitering in front of Walgreens, and I'm afraid to go in the store. So police get called and they get there, nobody around the store. They see a man walking down the sidewalk, white blue jeans, loitering, written up tattoo on his arm. He's walking down the sidewalk. They didn't see him loitering. He's now walking down the sidewalk. So before, they can't arrest for a misdemeanor unless it's committed in his presence. They did not see that man loitering. So they can't say you're under arrest, and the man say, this is the way it used to be. You're under arrest because you were loitering. Well, you don't see me loitering, I'm walking down the sidewalk. He said, well, they could not arrest you based on the testimony of the complainant because it's a misdemeanor. Now they can a felony, a more serious crime. But a misdemeanor, they can't arrest unless they see it going down, with a few exceptions. Now, they've stepped on your constitutional rights. Republican government that acts like they're pro your rights have violated your rights more, and they have allowed now, you can arrest, law enforcement can arrest for a misdemeanor not committed in their presence, which is horrific. Your ex-wife gets mad at you. Your former employee that you fired gets mad at you. Calls in a misdemeanor complaint against you. Now, if police want to, they can arrest you based on a lie. Based on a lie. An offense they didn't see happen. For a minor crime, they can arrest you without seeing it happen. Before, that was designed to protect you from minor offenses. If you did, in fact, commit a minor offense, the officer had to personally witness it himself before he could arrest you for it. He had to personally witness you loitering before he could arrest you for it. And there's all kinds of problems with loitering laws in the first place. Or trespassing or anything. He had to personally witness you doing that before he could arrest you. You couldn't just take the word of another person. They had to physically go down and swear out a warrant in front of the judicial commissioner under oath in order for him to act on that warrant that you swore to go arrest you. Now they have changed the law in Tennessee where they can arrest people for a misdemeanor offense complained on by a third party. They don't have to see it happen, which is taking away your rights. We're not going to win this fight. The best we can do is hold them off. That's under a Republican government. New arrest law. It's Public Chapter 409. An officer may make a warrantless arrest when the officer has probable cause to believe a person committed a misdemeanor, even when it's not committed in the officer's presence. So they've changed that. Given officers more authority to make a arrest for something they didn't see based on somebody that might be lying to them. Wow. So when I was in law enforcement, people all the time, call in people all over the road. You know, somebody cuts you off in traffic. Everybody's had this happen. And they cut you off. Or they stop immediately in front of you, and you tap your horn, and they get mad at you because you're trying to make them obey the laws because they put you in danger. And then they start chasing you down the road. They get road rage, and they call 911 and say, you're all over the road. And you ran 3 red lights, and you're all over the road, you're dangerous. Before, we got those calls all the time. I'm just telling you what happens. So we go look for the red Camaro that's ran 3 red lights all over the road, on the other side of the road, going the wrong way down the interstate. They make it sound horrific. So you find that red Camaro that's high rate of speed, severely dangerous by somebody that's got some road rage trying to get you arrested. And you went and found that car, and the complainant gives somebody else's number, and you follow the car, and they're driving like they're going to church on Sunday morning. They're not doing anything wrong whatsoever at all. And they are driving straight. Before, that was a third-party complaint. You can't arrest for a misdemeanor unless it's committed in your presence. You haven't seen them do anything wrong. While you're following them, they're driving just fine. What you do is, you follow them, they're not breaking any laws. You might check with the dispatcher about the complainant and tell them if they want to go down to the courthouse and file a warrant, whatever. You'll do a report on it. You can't pull that car over. A lot of officers do anyway, illegally, but you can't arrest for a misdemeanor unless it's committed in your presence. You haven't seen them drive wrong. Now, under the new law, they can pull you over and arrest you because your ex-wife or your former employee is pissed off at you and lying on you and put you in jail if the officer decides that he wants to do that. So imagine he pulls you over and you're driving just fine because your former employer or somebody pissed off at you, somebody mad because you're running for government office, pulls you over, and you question the officer and are blunt with him about your rights. You say, what have I done wrong? And he says, well, we got a complaint that you were all over the road. And you say, officer, I was not all over the road. I was driving just fine. Please let me go. And the officer gets mad because he wants to get his quota in. So he says, well, based on that third-party complaint, I didn't see any violation, but I'm going to arrest you based on what the other person said. He can arrest you for a misdemeanor that didn't happen in his presence based on your demeanor at the time because you pissed off a cop. Wow. So beginning July 1st, 2025, we're losing this battle. We're not going to win it. Best we can do is fight them off. And you're not going to fight them off by putting somebody in government power that's doing the same damn thing. Tennessee officers gain broad authority to arrest someone for a misdemeanor they did not personally witness. The officer must first still have probable cause. Not seeing it no longer bars the arrest. So they can listen to a liar. Now, that's happened to me multiple times. That's going to be a serious problem. We're giving all the hands over to the government to decide anything they want, to act on swatting. People do this all the time. They call on somebody that they're mad at, and the officer before had to hold up. It's a misdemeanor, I can't do anything about it. Or if it's a felony, at least I gotta have probable cause. And they arrest somebody falsely now. They can. They've broadened the law. Probable cause didn't change. It's still required. The new law did not authorize arrest based on a personal grudge, a bare hunch, an untested conclusion, a call immediately saying, I assume the officer must reasonably believe facts establishing an actual offense. But they'll make that up as they go along later. As they did in that man in Macon County, Tennessee, because they told him they were going to arrest him for failure to ID, even though that's not a legitimate charge in Tennessee. So they later added that he was committing a felony, which they had no proof of, because if they had, they would have arrested him for that on the scene at the time based on the proof they had. They arrested him for no ID and added the charge later to justify the no ID charge. Here in Macon County, Tennessee, here in Tennessee. Arrest is not guilt. Police may have arrest authority without having proof for a conviction. Probable cause permits the arrest. They didn't even have probable cause, but they arrest people. The same law also expanded physical custodial authority. Tennessee law generally encourages misdemeanor citations with public safety and identification permit, but the 2025 amendment gives officers more room to choose physical custody. So they have more authority, police have more authority. And at the same time, it gets a hell of a lot worse. It gets a hell of a lot worse. We're not going to win this. This is the earth. Evil resides here in every way, every day. The best we can do is fight them off. And Christian people, I'm telling you, out of the sincerity and goodness of my heart, this is for you. And even if you're not Christian, this is for you. These people are in government to control you. At least a Christian in office will let you have your constitutional God-given rights. God-given rights apply to non-Christian people. If we don't fight these people off, you're not going to have any rights to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Churches think, well, you got to stay out of politics. You won't be able to spread the gospel if you don't take your responsibility to vote people in office that will allow you to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Jehovah's Witnesses are more active in spreading a false gospel than Christian people are. Jehovah's Witnesses are more active in civil litigation fighting the government than Christian people are. A lot of Christian people are deceived. They think that the governor, because he says that he's Christian, that he runs the government like he is. That's just totally absurd. That's part of his falsehood. Like, share, comment, subscribe, help me get this message out, and contribute if you can. That's the falsehood. And that's not the end of it. The government in Tennessee has expanded law enforcement authority to for a misdemeanor not committed in their presence based on grudges or whatever they want to make up later. And they don't have to tell you at the time. You can be walking down the sidewalk. They can say, stop, Charles Van Morgan, stop. You could say, am I being detained? Am I free to go? And they can say yes. And I can ask them, why am I being detained for? They don't have to tell me that. They don't have to tell me. If they've got a legal reason to detain me, they can tell me legally, Charles Van Morgan, shut up. Let me see your hands. You're being detained. Be quiet. Don't go anywhere. They can even take my hands, cuff me, and they don't have to tell me shit. If they've got a legal reason to detain me, even walking down the sidewalk, they can detain me without explaining to me why they're detaining me. So I'm not telling you. If you're walking down the sidewalk and a police officer jumps out of his car and says, stop right there, don't move, put your hands behind your back. You need to do that. You need to do that immediately. Now you can ask him, why am I being detained? I didn't do anything wrong. You can object. You can say, am I free to leave? If he says no, you can say, well, why am I not free to leave? If he says, put your hands behind your back, you need to put your hands behind your back. I'm not telling you to resist an officer because he doesn't have to explain to you why he's detaining you. Now, it might be good of him if he did. At some point in time, he will have to, but not at that time. They don't have to. They don't have to have court on the side of the road. They can say, stop, you're not free to go. Now, later, they better have a reason because you can sue them in federal court if they didn't. Say you match the description of somebody who shot 3 people down the street. And you match their description, you got the tattoo, same tattoo, but you're not the person. But you do match the description of somebody that shot 3 people. And you're walking down the street, exact same description. The person that shot him went the other way, but the police don't know that. They're looking for this man that shot and killed 3 people. And you're walking down the street, you match that description. Now, the officer can jump out of his car because you match the description, and they've got a serious felony, and he can say, stop, don't move, put your hands back behind your head. You can say, why are you stopping me? I didn't do anything wrong. Am I free to go? You can ask that all you want to. He doesn't have to tell you. He doesn't. people think, well, I got to be told. No, you don't. Now, he will have to explain that later, either to you after the situation is safe as he sees it, or in a court of law if you sue him. But he can stop you. You don't have to have court right on the side of the road. You better do what they tell you to under the circumstance at the time. You can ask all the questions you want to. You can't say, well, he didn't tell me why he stopped me, so he's violated. No, he doesn't have to. He's worried about getting shot himself. So obey what they tell you. Now, you can work out the details later, but you should say, am I free to go? If they say no, don't go. And if he says, got you on the ground cuffed and put you up against the car, pat you down, and he says, you know, we got a call, you fit the description. Somebody that just shot 3 people, and then he gets a call on the radio, oh no, they got the guy in custody, it wasn't you, he uncuffed you and let you go. He hasn't committed any crime against you, he hasn't violated your rights. You fit the description, he has a right to do that. If you're demanding, why are you stopping me? I'm not, you know, then, hey, he's not violating your rights. He doesn't have to explain it to you. There's an officer safety issue there. But at the same time, they have increased officers' rights under a misdemeanor to stop you and arrest you based on a third-party complaint. And they have made it a penalty, a felony, to assault a police officer. And it is not a felony for a police officer to assault you. So they have increased their ability to arrest you based on crimes, minor crimes that they didn't witness, and have made it more dangerous for you to resist an unlawful violent arrest. It's two-tier justice. Back the blue. Who backs you? I do. And I'm for backing the blue when they act right, but they're making it more dangerous, giving them more authority to arrest you for things you didn't commit, to detain you, giving them more rights under the law to detain you, as it was when I first started. Now they can arrest for a misdemeanor, even out on the street, that didn't happen in their presence based on a third-party complaint, while at the same time increasing the penalty for you resisting a violent arrest. Do not assault police, do not assault citizens. One law, one standard, equal justice. They shouldn't assault us. This is the law. If convicted of assaulting an officer performing his duties as they see it, it is now a Class C felony to assault a police officer. So we are elevating a badge to a felony if you unreasonably touch him, harmful or offensive contact with a police officer while he's in the performance of his duties, is a mandatory 60 days in jail. So while they're broadening their authority, we're not going to win this fight. We're going to hold them off to be able to spread the gospel, or if you're not Christian, to be able to enforce your rights. I'm Charles Van Morgan. I have a doctorate of jurisprudence. I see these things for what they are. They're inching away at your rights. A fight we're not going to win. John MacArthur, we're not winning this fight on this earth. It's an evil world. The best we can do is hold them off. To put a plug in the dam. It's coming down. To halt it off as long as we can until we get into the kingdom of the Lord Jesus Christ, which is in the world to come. So you better fight them. Mandatory 60 days in jail, mandatory $10,000 fine, no release during those 60 days. So if you are wrongfully arrested and the police use unlawful force against you, which they have done to me in the past, it is not a felony for them to assault you. It is not 60 days in jail for an officer to violently attack you based on a misdemeanor offense, it is not mandatory 6 days in jail for them. You are not protected by unlawful police violence. You're not protected from that. If you unlawfully, or what they construe as harmful or offensive conduct, they passed a new law that makes it a felony. So if an officer thinks, while he's performing his official duties, that you have harmfully or offensively contacted him, you go to jail for 60 days, 2 months. A mandatory fine, up to $10,000 fine, and no release during those 60 days. That's the new law. The special punishment came from Tennessee 2024, Back the Blue Act, Public Chapter 976. So for several years, they are like a bull in a china shop, in a glass shop. You better be real careful around these golden boys. Back the Blue has gone way too far. If you harmfully or offensively touch one of them while they're on duty, on the job, 60 days in jail, and you don't get out of that. The judge can't say, well, that was a minor harmful offensive contact, so we're going to give them 3 hours in jail or a day in jail. If they find you guilty of harmful offensive contact against a police officer on duty, it's a felony, 60 days in jail, mandatory $10,000 fine for bumping into them. If they bump into you, it's not a felony. So the standard for them is harmful offensive contact, minor offense, 60 days in jail, $10,000 fine. If they harmful offensive contact you and even get convicted, they don't have to go to jail. They don't have to have a fine. You have to go to jail and have to be fined if you're found guilty. If they're found guilty, there's no mandatory for them. They can do what they want to. At the same time, laws have expanded to allow them to arrest you for more offenses that they've imagined in their brain, or a complainant has, that doesn't have to be under oath to tell the officer that that's what happened. Wow. And you think that we're going to win this war. I'm just telling you, we're not winning this war. It's not going to be win. People on here tell me, oh, you're a loser. Yeah, we're losing this war. We are going to lose it. It's just, the question is, how bad are we going to lose it? How bad are we going to lose it? Our president was impeached several times. Got warrants for him to search his house, search his wife's underwear in their houses. We're losing this war. It was a miracle that he got elected again. It'll be a miracle. You better fight like hell to maintain any sense of dignity or the Constitution that you may think you have. It's already out the door. This is a losing battle. It's a matter of maintaining any sense of dignity and keeping this stuff away as far off into the future as we can. We're going to lose this. John MacArthur, I'll put a link to the video. A deceased now pastor, a man of God, studied the Bible all his life. You talk about these prosperity prospers. Pastors. We're not going to have prosperity on this earth substantially. People may get snippets of it. We're having our rights taken away. We are losing this battle. We're going to lose this battle. This is a losing war on this earth, on this planet, in this fallen world right now. It is deceitful to tell you anything else. I've lost several elections. Yeah, because I'm on the right side. I'm in a losing battle. We may be able, by a miracle, prayer, hard work, and dedication, to win an office and fight them off for a while. But I guarantee you, if I ever did get public office, I'd be up for impeachment before I ever got sworn in, because it's a losing battle. Whether or not I would, I don't know. It is a battle that we have to fight. We have to fight this losing battle, because God is with us, and we'll get our rewards in the next world, not necessarily in this world right here, right now. We probably won't. Many a witness for the Lord Jesus Christ has been a martyr, They got their rewards in heaven. They paid the full price today. Soldiers are dying in foreign countries right now for this atrocity. Out of respect for the foreign soldiers, we need to fight and hold on to what rights we have. Martin Luther King told you he had a dream. One better than Martin Luther King. I'll tell you, that dream will never come to fruition. It never will. African Americans, God loves you, I love you. You got red blood just like me. The blood mixes. There's mixed African American and white children. God's not racist at all. But you're not going to get your rights completely like you should in this world. Martin Luther King's dream has come to some fruition. It will not come to total fruition like God intends it to until we're in His kingdom. The best we can do is fight them off, hold it off. Hold the damn back, because it's going to bust. This is a losing battle on this earth, in this wicked world. So I ask you to stand with me in this losing fight on this earth. We're going to win in eternity. We're going to win in eternity. We're not going to win on this earth. This is a wicked world. A wicked world. People say and do all kinds of things to live forever. Do you really want to live forever in this world? The way as wicked and as dirty as it is? In the next 100 years, you won't have a constitution like it stands today unless we have people that stand up and fight today against the government. A president ran on it's the economy, stupid. It's the government, Marsha Blackburn, stupid. It's you that's fighting us against our eternal home, against our government, against our God. The government is not God. They think they are. And on this earth, they are the supreme controllers that do wrong, but they're not over God. And in order to spread the gospel, we've got to fight this government legitimately, lawfully, by legitimate legal means, not like they do. Not like they do, by taking our rights. So they have increased officers' power to make misdemeanor arrests without committed in their presence. They have made it a felony, mandatory 2 months in jail, $10,000 fine, if you harmfully or offensively contact a police officer during the performance of his duties. It is not a mandatory jail time for a police officer if he violates the Constitution and brutally beats you up. He doesn't have to go to jail. You do. Look at the standard. That's the standard. Taxpayers fund the jail, the accused fund the defense, lawyers market the fear. First, government creates a special felony, then website tells you your life may be destroyed. Then it says, call us today, and you better. A felony follows you. A conviction can threaten your freedom, your job, your professional license, your housing, your reputation, your firearms rights. The felony record does not end on the 6th day like God's creation. Body cam or didn't happen. They hide the body cam videos in a lot of cases. Do not fight the case on the roadside. I'm not resisting. I do not consent. I want a lawyer. I need medical attention. Remember those words. Am I free to go? Why are you detaining me? Don't resist if they don't tell you why they're detaining you. They will have to at some point. They don't necessarily have to at the time. They don't have to have court on the side of the road. Don't resist physically and say that you're not resisting. They're trained to say stop resisting because it sounds good in court while they're beating you over the head, because they're saying that you are resisting. So they're giving evidence to court later. They're saying stop resisting. It gives him the right to hit you. I had to hit him because I'm telling you why I had to hit him, because he's resisting. I'm saying stop resisting. I'm having to hit him because he's resisting. So I'm not resisting and don't. I don't consent. I want a lawyer. I need medical attention. Am I free to go? Are key words. Ask for preservation of every record. in special justice, special clause justice. Either remove the special mandatory punishment and prosecute the actual harm, or create equal serious, automatic accountable when an officer knowingly uses unlawful force. You don't have anybody in government that's going to change that law, because the government protects them. It will never unlawfully stop and detain based on a third-party complaint after they find out who they are, somebody in government office. It won't do that to them. It will do that to you. So we need equal protection under the law. If a police officer harmfully, offensively touches a citizen in the performance of their duty, let's give them mandatory 60 days in jail. Let's have independent investigations, automatic video preservation, public charge and deposition data, real consequences for deliberately hidden evidence. Back the blue must never mean break the citizen. Not royal status. Protect good officers. Prosecute abusive officers. Protect the people. Equal justice, or it is not justice. You know, back when I was a police officer, and I hate to say this, but back when I was a police officer, the police officers, and some of them I didn't like for the most part, they were some tough guys. They got in law enforcement because they cared about society and wanted to protect society, and they were brave, tough guys. They weren't wrestlers. They were real tough guys. They would fight you. When I was a police officer, they didn't have a felony for assaulting me or assaulting another police officer. They didn't have that felony. We would have laughed about that, because if you assaulted us, we would have, quite frankly, in layman's term, kicked your ass. We would have defended yourself. We didn't need a felony. We'd have knocked you on the ground. If you'd try to punch us, we'd have knocked you on the ground hard. We would have defended ourselves against your stupid ass. We didn't need special protection under the law. You'd have paid for it. You'd have got some street justice, some legitimate legal street justice. Your 60 days in jail would have been your head bouncing off the sidewalk when you tried to punch us. Because most of the officers I worked with when I was growing up, in this day and age, they got a bunch of sissies. A lot of them still in, but we would have put the hurting on you. We didn't want a special privileges. We knew how to do the business. A lot of officers that I got into law enforcement with, some of them I didn't like for the most part. Now, there were some cowards. We're tough guys. If you had tried to hurt one of them, harmful offensive contact, they would have shown you what resisting causes them to use more force. It's one up. They didn't need no special protection. They would have laughed about that. You get prosecuted later. They would have said they enjoyed the fight. They didn't want you to go to jail for 60 days. It might cause you not to resist again. They enjoyed knocking the hell out of you if it's so required. They didn't need this sissified stuff that these officers want now. They want more authority to arrest you. And by George, if you rub them the wrong way, you'll go to jail for 60 days, because they damn sure ain't capable of stopping you from your harmful offensive contact. They're scared of you. I mean, where's the day when we had cops that got into law enforcement because they were real law enforcement officers that didn't need protection under the law? They protected their damn selves. You know, if you mess with them enough where their life was in danger, they would kill you. And they didn't need to use a gun. I mean, you have officers now who shoot unarmed people. I mean, do you not practice self-defense? They have to resort to fatal violence, and even though it's legal, lethal force and able to protect themselves. When I was in law enforcement in my early 20s and 30s, someone attacked a police officer. The police officer, took control of the person without having to resort to deadly force. It wasn't that big a deal. I mean, sometimes they had to go to the hospital, but we didn't have to shoot them. We didn't have to kill people to get control of them. We got control of them. We knocked the damn hell out of them if they're trying to hurt us. We didn't have to pull out our gun because we couldn't lay the hammer down on them physically. They got so weak. And I hate to say this, but there are some good female officers. Some of them I'd rather had with me than male officers. But they got these female officers that are getting on the departments because of sexual exploiting male officers and advertising sex, and they get hired, and then they get promoted, and they're not real police. And my son applied for the Knoxville City Police Department. Stellar record, never been arrested. Great young man, a tough guy, played football. Would have been a great police officer, honest, a family man, and I'm glad he didn't get hired. Applied for the Knoxville Police Department. Didn't get hired. Told him no. Passed the test, did the physical, told him no. If he'd have had big boobs, like another female officer who was texting the chief of police sexually, who was previously involved in a sexual relationship on the job with a captain, then he might have got hired if it had big boobs. But he was capable of doing his job and keeping down crime. But a female officer that's out advertising that I'll play sexual games with you and have sex with you on the job gets hired as a Knoxville police officer. So that's the status. That's what we have out here that's supposed to protect you. She can't protect you. She can have sex with the hierarchy. That goes on in the Tennessee Highway Patrol. We don't have people that protect you. We got these thugs, these crooked people in government power. Major Stacey Heatherly, dressed like a whore. And I mentioned that the other day. So what I say does matter, because I mentioned the other day that somebody sent this to Major Stacey Heatherly's husband, that I said she dresses like a whore. She called me in on the job dressed in civilian clothes where you could see everything. Her ugly ass could show tight clothes. I mean, it was grotesque and sickening. I couldn't quit my job. I had my children to feed. Stuck her finger in my face, exposing everything she had, ordering me to, because she was a supervisor. That's the supervision level, and the lieutenant sitting behind her enjoying the view, that sick, pathetic Danny Thomas piece of shit that brags about he beat somebody with a flashlight. Come and beat me, Danny. See what the hell happens to you, boy. You pathetic piece of shit. So, says I'm a crybaby. Who's crying now, boy? So, they get people in law enforcement that can't do the job, that if you harmfully, in their opinion, harmful offensive touching is an assault, you get 60 days in jail, $10,000 fine. If they harmfully offensive touch you, there's no, even if they get convicted, which they probably won't, there's no mandatory jail, no mandatory fine. If they do get convicted, they will probably get probation. It's off the record if they do something like go to counseling, so they'll never get it on the record. If you harmfully offensive touch them, it's on your record, ruins your life. That's the standard. And their police powers have been broadened to they can arrest you for a misdemeanor that they didn't see. So they're getting more and more power, less and less accountability for stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and they have no accountability. So let's get the message out. Subscribe to the channel, my honest plea, and thank y'all for watching. Every person on here, naysayer or not, helps this channel, helps the algorithm, helps me get the message out. The fight against the government is against the government. Politics cannot save us. Government cannot save us. Jesus Christ is the only one that saves us. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Put your faith in Jesus Christ. We're fighting a losing battle. Don't let government convince you that government owns you. It doesn't. Your voice matters, your rights matter, your vote matters. We can hold them off. They thought we'd go away. I didn't. They thought I'd shut up. I didn't. They thought I'd quit. I didn't. Let's keep hammering away at these people And let's see how many people we have on there. May answer some questions, may cover a few more things. So yeah, over 100 people in here. We've almost like, share, comment, and subscribe. Watch Euro and Travel, Tom and Graham. The show is a great show. It's getting over 200,000 people watching it. So you're missing something that a lot of people are interested in. Help them get 100,000 subscribers. They'll get a blue award from YouTube. I'm sure that's what they're in it for. No, they're in it to get out a good message. That's the truth about politics, that they're not going to win. But at least they're holding the status quo off and fighting for what's right. And I appreciate them doing that. You're on Travel, Tom and Graham. Great show. Somebody likes what they're saying. I'm one of them. Over 200,000 people yesterday on 2 occasions appreciate what they're saying. So watch that show. Great show. So let's see if we got any comments in here, and I may finish some more dialogue. Let's see. Yeah, most of them don't make much sense. So subscribe to the channel, like and share, and hopefully y'all can hear me. So I'm going to give you some power thoughts. Government serves us. We do not serve government. I'm going to say some things that will infuriate some people. Too bad. Go cry. Go fly a kite. I'm not running for governor to make everybody feel comfortable. In fact, I'm doing just the opposite. That's the strategy. A campaign like you've never heard of. Lies are not harmless. A lie can destroy a career, a family, a reputation, a future. Some lies are deadly. I know what a lie can do. For 14 years, I've lived what I contend, what were false claims used to destroy my career. But I'm still here, I'm still talking, I'm still fighting. So, if you're on here hating on me, hello, you're spreading lies, falsehoods. And if you're saying, well, the government says that's true, you're spreading lies from the government. That's right, they do. The government spreads a lie. The government is spreading a lie with your tax money. Major Stacy Heatherly, under color of law with your tax money, trains people did in their academy, shows that video of me driving past a wreck that's off the road in the dark that is not visible even to another person, and says that I saw a wreck and intentionally drove by it and somebody burned it. That's a lie. That's a government lie. So if you're spreading that lie, you're spreading a government lie. That's not true. And get this. You can believe anything you want to believe. Hey, that's on you. And I don't care if you believe that. You can put that on the channel. It's a lie. And it's not true. And I have the right to spread the truth. The truth is, and if you get this in your little pea brain, that's stupid. Dangerous to yourself and stupid. The man that I was trying to apprehend is dead. So you go after me, and I'll legally and lawfully go after you. I'll pray about it. People who carry the sword are God's servants. I've been gifted with that. Now it's a burden. I would caution you. Now, it's not like I care, because that's my forte. But come after me at your own risk. I would ask you to speak the truth. Now, I'm not threatening harm to anybody, but in the course of what I do for the right, bad stuff happens to people because of the result of their evil activity. So I'm just saying, you do you. and I'll do me, and we'll see who survives that. There are many an officer that worship the badge that's dead now. They got a street named after him. They cursed me. I'm still 6 foot above ground, and there'll be rewards in heaven for carrying the sword, and there may be rewards on earth. I pray that there is. So I could care less what you say. I have the truth about what happened. And look at the records, look at the testimony, look at what they did, how they decided things. Powerful people can lie to you. A badge doesn't make a lie true. A government title doesn't make a liar true. Swearing an oath doesn't magically make false testimony true. Truth is truth. And truth has weight. And something that may shock the hell out of you all, which it does, it rocks the house. It's a wonderful thing to be freed as far as possible from what the hell other people think. That's a scar God put me through. While I was out serving the public, risking my life, the government tried to make everybody hate me. So I've been there, done that. Didn't get a cookie for it. I know what that's like. It's not like this is my first rodeo. I don't need everybody to like me. I really don't. I mean, you're on there hating. You might need some people to like you. You obviously do. You're trying to stir up attention. But I don't need everybody to like me. Some people don't like me. Maybe a tree waiting for you or a billboard. People don't fare well that do wrong when I'm trying to correct the record or make things right or protect society. Now, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying. They end up biting a bullet too hard. So you best damn leave me alone. I pray about things and people pray for me. So if you think you're playing with a toy, it may be God's toy you're messing with. Now I admit, we're not going to win this battle, but we're going to fight you off. And we're going to win. We're not going to win this war. We're going to win a few battles. Some people don't like me because of my political position. Good. That means I actually have positions. I don't like everybody either. Here's a news flash. You don't have to like me and I don't have to like you. This is America. We have rights, not a government mandated friendship club. And I don't like a lot of people. Psalm 139:22. I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. That doesn't mean lawless violence. It means don't approve of evil. I don't excuse it. I don't join it. You don't have enough water to waterboard me into subjection. I'm willing to go the extra mile to my real heavenly home that I'm going to get there either later or sooner. So it really doesn't scare me now, and it really doesn't matter to me now. Been through the fire. I'm out the other end. I'm just fine with this. People don't understand. And what they don't understand, they criticize. Some people, some of you get it, I appreciate it. But I don't care. I'm telling you, you ought to listen to what I'm trying to say. It's for your benefit, not mine. Call evil what it is. We have become terrified of offending wrongdoers. Wrong is wrong. Corruption is corruption. A lie is a lie. No matter who's doing it. Newsflash, your government. Bill Lee is doing that to you under a Christian banner. He's a corrupt thug. Macon County, taking your guns away on your property. If you harmfully, offensively touch them, you'll do 60 days in jail, $10,000 fine. What they did to him, they won't get that, even if they do get convicted. You don't beat the cop. You drive drunk, get lucky, you risk your life, an innocent family's life. You risk your own life. That isn't something to brag about. That's what people, so stupid people on here, brag about stupidity. I had people when I was a trooper, and it was well known. Like, share, and comment. It was well known that I enforced the law and protected a lot of people in drunk driving. I had somebody joke with me one time that seen me in a convenience store. They said, I was drunk driving last night and you didn't catch me. Trying to run me down that they were drunk driving and I was a cop and I didn't arrest them. And they thought that was a good thing, that was critical of me because I didn't find them, so I wasn't a good cop. And that was a bad light on me. That's all these people think. How do you fix that? You argue with that? I mean, it's just ludicrous. I'm not arguing with that, you dumbass. You are risking your own stupid life. The fallacy that most drunk drivers survive wrecks is a lie. I worked many a wreck where a drunk driver went off the road and killed himself. So you think it's funny that you risk your own life and the joke's on me because I didn't catch you? You should have hoped and prayed that I did, you dumbass. So that's the logic that a lot of these people are dealing with. It's insane. They're insane people. And while you're laughing, somebody else who was drunk driving may have been stopped. Somebody may have gotten home alive. That's what I did, the job. You can't argue with stupidity. You can if you want to, and sometimes it's fun. But these people make no sense. They're backing up the government. They're backing up the news media. Months I waited for court rulings. I waited months for my law license. Wait. Then you get trashed. I'm waiting right now for a court ruling because that's the right way to handle things. Peacefully, legitimately, through the court system. But that's just one way. Because most likely, and the man in Macon County has a lawsuit against the government in their courts. And their courts are rogue. You can wait. But so that's not the only way to fight them, through court processes. I'm still waiting right now on my law license. I'm fighting them in court. Another way to fight them is through public information, through voting. My life doesn't belong to a judge. Yours shouldn't either. This is a losing battle on this earth. We can fight them back. We can win some battles. It's a losing war. I will use the courts. I will fight in the courts. But I will never again put my entire life in the hands of judges. They're crooked. I have other baskets. My future doesn't depend on one court case, one government board, one politician, one newspaper, or even one election. Keep moving. I'm not going away. That's what scares the hell out of them. They want us to go away. As you look at the beautiful view, they want us to go away. I'm not going away. Till they kill me, and they might. I might be a martyr. I'm not afraid of that. It doesn't scare me. Don't relent. Defend yourself. Tell the truth. Then keep going. Don't let their attack become your identity and act like a leader. And we're a winner. We need to act like it. We're going to win some battles. We're a winner because we're doing right. The country club crowd. Sometimes you get cordially invited. Cordially means warm, friendly, polite. Until you say something the club doesn't like. And then you get to rock the house. Just say, I don't agree. Let me strike the pose. I don't agree. They fall apart. And then say, you fell apart. Man's not falling apart. God's upholding me with his hand. Let me finish my sentence. If you give somebody time to speak, let them speak. Don't interrupt them. Then claim that they're the problem. That isn't debate. That's control. And, stop inviting me to these forums when you want me to play this little political creep game and brag on the government and brag on you. I'm not going to do it. It disgusts me. Almost puke. The government's running just... I can't even get it out of my mouth. The government is not running fine. The problem in America today, ask Donald J. Trump, is the government. The problem in America, it's not the economy, it's the government. People in government power. I can take disagreement with me, challenge me, question me. That's politics. But don't demand that I surrender my speech because you're offended. Because you're going to get offended a lot more. In fact, when I find what you're offended about, I'll keep talking at you. Hear you squeal louder like the dirty pigs you are. You're not going to beat me down. It's not going to work, Lowell Russell. It's on, bitch. I'm here for this. You just put the target on your damn nasty, pathetic hind end. Now, I'm not talking about violence. Although he did have a bad car wreck, I don't have to chase the press. I don't have to take a strong positions, challenge government power, disagree politically. The press will find us. I guarantee you they will. I learned that years ago. They'll find me. I'm not chasing them. I could care less about the damn nasty news media. Sick psycho bastards, lying thugs, government agents. They're creepish. You won't find very many that are worth anything. They're dirty and nasty and arrogant as hell. One of them here in Knoxville thinks he's a great man. I wish he'd stand up. He told me he was. I mean, that's how short he is. I'm just saying. I know what it is like to have my personal life dragged into public controversy. My children are grown now, but I remember that's what I don't fear, another front page. I mean, I've been trained well. The joke's on them. They put me on the front page. The joke's on them. I couldn't afford that kind of advertisement. They think it bothers me. That was the plan. That was the plan. Like, share, comment, subscribe. That was the plan. They argue with me all day on Facebook. Joke's on them. Their comments help more people see the message. Thank you for the algorithm. They tried to make me controversial. Joke's on them. I was already doing that for free. They tried to silence me. Joke's on them. They just gave me another 2-hour show. They thought I would disappear. Joke's on them. I've never been very good at taking a hint. How big is my campaign staff? Somebody asked, man, how big's your staff? I said, do the people argue with me on Facebook count? Political consultants, they say, Van, you need a professional consultant. Why? Facebook commentators already tell me everything I'm doing wrong for free. My election results don't create my rights. I could get 10 votes, 100 votes, 1,000,000 votes, or 0 votes. My First Amendment rights don't change. You don't have to be in government office. You still have First Amendment constitutional rights. Elections do not create the Constitution. You can defeat a candidate. You cannot vote away the candidate's constitutional rights. Remember that. I can win every election I run in. It's a losing battle. It's because I'm on the right side. We're losing the war. We're not going to win down here on this earth. It's crooked as hell. Satan, Lucifer, Republicans and Democrats control. Here's my message to the haters. Take the election if the people give it to you, but you will not take my constitutional rights. Rights don't belong to winners only. The Constitution doesn't say the winning side gets free speech. The losing side has rights too. That's the whole point. Nobody's listening to them jackasses anyway. I've got more viewers than a lot of them. I believe the rights come from God. The Constitution doesn't create them. It recognizes and protects them. Speak against me, you have a right to speak against me. Use it. I have a right to answer you. I'll use mine too. Argue, protest, criticize, vote, but keep it lawful. You keep your hands to yourself. I will defend my rights through lawful means. Republican or Democrat, I don't care what letter is beside your name, R, D, or I. If you protect a broken system, the people should hold you accountable. The party label doesn't save you. Call yourself a conservative, a liberal, a Republican, a Democrat. I'm looking at what you actually did. Accountability means evidence. If government covered up evidence, prove it, investigate it, release the records, hold people accountable no matter what party they belong to. Government should fear the ballot. Public officials should know eventually the people get a vote. like how government behaves, remember, when you see the ballot. So, like Forrest Gump said, I'm getting kind of tired. Politics cannot save us. Government can save us. The government cannot save us. Jesus Christ saves. So, we'll continue this maybe tomorrow. We might go to Chattanooga. We've requested to be at a hearing. Surprise, surprise. If we can get someone to go with us, or if we can't, maybe to listen to a hearing. We might broadcast live from there, or we'll be back on here Wednesday. And as I always try to say, it was like Forrest Gump, I'm getting kind of tired. God loves you and I do too. So we'll get the heck off here. At 158 likes, thank you very much. Sweet Chattanooga, I subscribe. Thank you. That's expected at your age. You think that was a Democrat or Republican in that pickup? That's pretty funny. You mean Democrat, not rat, you mega rat. I'm independent. I mean, you know. This guy is hip replacement eligible. Yeah. That's what I want you to believe when you confront me with evil intentions. That gives me an advantage. What about L? That's the deafest attitude for you. I don't understand that. Hey, that's good. So, thank y'all for watching. 159 likes. Let's get 160. Chattanooga, 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 woo woo. That's funny. Let's see what we got on here first. No, Jesus taught Christ conscious. I don't, okay. God is fake, religion is free, gender is fake, race is fake, okay. And how do you, yeah. February 2018, Trump suggested taking guns away from American citizens. I don't believe that. I mean, excuse me, I don't think that's true. Thank you for the hearts. Getting a lot of those, I appreciate that. I guess you can put lipstick on them. So thank y'all very much for joining us. We'll try to be back on here maybe tomorrow. You go live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, or maybe not. I'll make it a surprise. Or if nothing else, Wednesday. But if live news breaks, we'll try to be on the scene. Thank y'all very much for joining us. Remember, Macon County, Tennessee, they violated the Constitution, set it aside, took somebody's constitutional rights away from them. Took their gun on their own property, trespassed just like a worse than a rogue thug trespassing. That's coming from Tennessee. Coming from Tennessee is people that have tried to persecute and prosecute the president and his family. So you tell me, Tennessee's a red state. The governor in Tennessee goes against Donald Trump. It's not a red state. They're lying to you. They're a bunch of liars. And I expose lies. So thank y'all very much for showing up. God loves you. And I do too. But being independent can also root to mega forms and have beliefs from them. Independent means having your own root and objectives. Well, I do. Thank you for commenting. God bless y'all.